Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nerd³ Podcats!
I'm sorry, are you the fucking Joker now?
He'd do a better job of it.
Oh, Jared Leto was good. Fuck off.
Yeah, for the whole 30 seconds we saw him.
Yeah, for the whole 30 seconds.
And if you haven't seen the film yet, just watch the trailer, because that's all the bits he's in.
That is true.
Literally all of it.
I thought there were bits in the trailer that aren't in the actual film.
Are there?
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's like a bit where he's backing off or something. He's waving, holding a grenade that's not in the film.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's bits where he's just literally not in the
Look,
thing.
Don't worry, it's fine, Dan. Don't you care?
I don't care.
I know.
I genuinely
really,
don't.
I've never noticed your lack of care for things.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, we've been promised that after the Outrage special last week, we're going to be having a
That was 2 weeks ago.
Good
2 weeks
Game
ago.
It
special.
was 2 weeks ago, John.
2 weeks ago, John. John,
What?
2 weeks ago.
What was last week?
The pineapples dragon thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. We're doing happy games. Happy
You
games.
say that,
Good
but
games.
you say that, but for the people who were on the live stream did just see the intro we did.
Oh dear, yes, that's true. And yes, in fact, the two biggest bits of news are probably related to terrible games, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right there. Can we talk about the thing that I literally haven't stopped laughing about since I watched the trailer?
Go right ahead.
Can we talk about Metal Gear Survive? Can we please?
No, we're not. No, we can't.
Can we please talk
Yes,
about
we
Metal Gear
can.
Survive? Because it's
we can.
literally the funniest thing.
Is it really that much more ridiculous than Revengerance?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, if they can make up words, so can I.
Yes. It is that much worse. Because
I mean, in the first level of Revengerance, you basically picked up a robot by its legs and tossed it out into the city.
Yeah, that happens in regular Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, so is
That's
this
a standard
really
thing.
that much weirder when you get to, this is like the thing, like when people like really people who get really angry about Indiana Jones' Crystal Skull, like, oh, there shouldn't be aliens in Indiana Jones. Really? Because there was a magical Christian cup that was literally the Goblet of Christ in one of them, and you were fine with that, but aliens is over the line.
Yeah.
So is the same thing true here? Is it really over the line for what's going on in Survive after
I
what was
don't
in
Is
know.
it really overline for a series that, while a bit balmy, is actually grounded in its balminess to suddenly open up a portal to another dimension and suck some characters off and send them over to Zombieland to do a 4-player survival co-op game?
I think the thing is, right, it ruins the tone with the weird portal thing, and then it goes,
It's literally after Ground Zeroes. You know that fun, happy rape and death time? That little short thing, that demo that everyone had to pay money for? Like that bit at the end where it's really dramatic and then like Pal's vagina explodes and Big Boss gets blown up. Then an alien portal opens and sucked away a few members of the... Mother Base.
This is what I don't get, because they went, okay, let's just ruin the tone of it, and let's sacrifice the tone for the most generic game we can think of.
Oh my god, 4-player zombie game.
But that's it. If they were gonna fuck up the tone, it should have been for something, worthwhile, and 4-player zombie co-op. Whoa.
It's so good. I'm so excited. Seriously, I watched that trailer in fucking tears. It's just because it's
Like
the
crying?
most Konami. Yeah, it's the most Konami thing ever. Like, I'm so glad Metal Gear Solid 5 managed to kill my love of that franchise off. Otherwise, I would have committed seppuku.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's so nice that I have no care and attachment to any of those characters anymore. But yeah, I do like that the first Metal Gear Solid without Hideo Kojima becomes a generic survival zombie game.
It's kind of endearing in its own way, isn't it? Because it sort of validates everything we think about Konami.
Yeah, it's like we have no ideas and we ruin everything. Konami. It'd be great. After a while, it'll just come out as one of those fucking... What's the machines they have?
Pachinko machines.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a pachinko machine.
The chat just suggested Metal Gear Kart, and I'd be totally behind that too.
Does that already exist?
Probably.
I'm trying to
I
think
feel like
of
they
any
will.
of the
No,
things.
they'll make a zombie co-op game, then they'll make a kart racing game, and then they'll make a survival game, like a proper, like a really generic survival game, like with just crafting and
Well,
harvesting.
3 had sort of survival elements.
No, I mean just a
game.
survival game. Like, oh no, you're lost in this portal world alone. Ooh, there are trees around. You better chop those down.
Well, you have to hide behind them and eat snakes, but yeah.
No, you need to use them to make an axe that you can use to chop down trees faster so you can build a hut so that you can survive the night using the bed that you make out of a sheep.
Or you can upgrade that to a laser and then laser the plants to get plant juice to power your ship.
Yeah, I mean, like Kojima's always played with weird stuff in, like, outside of the canon. So in something like Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, which is like the expansion pack version that came out later, there's skateboarding you can play. It's a whole skateboarding minigame. There's a whole set of there's a mini extra story about, you find out how the VR works, and it's just like this box with some balls in it that Otacon uses. That's literally the VR things. He's like, no, I just found it one day and it works. And like then like creatures from other dimensions start attacking stuff, but it's always been a very tongue-in-cheek, silly thing. This looks like we're totally canon. This sort of has that same, like, down-to-earth tone that Metal Gear has. It doesn't go, "Wee!" Because whenever Metal Gear goes, "Wee!" it completely goes, "Wee!" and it's obvious that it's going, "Wee!" But this is just going dark and gritty survival. Then again, Metal Gear Solid 5
was always that it kind of goes from the way to the dark and gritty survival in about 10 seconds and veers randomly between them. I mean, the Twin Snakes was where the series completely lost me back on the GameCube, where it just kind of went from silly... It just went ridiculous, silly madness off to I'm crying over poor dead, sad sniper wolf to wacky, silly fun again in like 15 seconds. It just I had no idea what I was supposed to be feeling anymore. Yeah, it was very confusing.
Yeah, it's definitely The joke is if you ask what's it Hideo Kojima's response to fuck, never mind, I can't remember. But I was like, who did this joke? Do I like this person? I can't remember anymore. Yeah, Hideo Kojima doesn't understand tone. General gist of life. He doesn't know what tone is, but I kind of think it's. I think it's it's all over the place. But this just right. If you've managed to make a game that doesn't fit inside the broadest fucking spectrum of tone that Metal Gear allows, then you've massively fucked up. That's the thing. And of course there's going to be a zombie Metal Gear, which is going to make the fans angry.
You see, what I don't get is why don't they just sell the IP? Because I can see their kind of short-term thinking there in that Metal Gear. Like, this game, even if it's shit, will sell, right? But it's going to devalue the IP in the long term, and then, 2-3 games down the line, no one's going to fucking buy it. And then they won't be able to sell the IP for very much, and I don't get why they wouldn't just sell the IP now.
Because who gives a
make
fuck?
A bunch of money.
Who gives a fuck about the IPs anymore?
But this is the problem. That they don't give a shit about. They clearly don't give a shit about this. They clearly don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So they could make so much more money. Just sell. Like, I'm sure Sony would fucking just buy the Metal Gear IP right from them.
Yeah. And then they'd give it to Kojima, and then they'd be making Metal Gear again.
Yeah.
Which is the worst possible thing for Konami, because they don't want Hideo Kojima to have it, because they don't like Hideo Kojima very much. They're trying to keep... They basically kind of want to kill it. I'd say they want to kill it, and they want to destroy it and ruin it, and then they'll be like, hey, Kojima, have this back.
Yeah, but they want money. Like, are they that petty, though?
Yes.
Why?
Have you seen the absolutely gorgeous Metal Gear Solid 3 remake that they've done exclusively for the fucking... whatever the fuck it's called? The pachinko machines.
The pachinko machines. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
They've remade all the Metal Gear Solid 3 cutscenes and made them look awesome, but they're not remaking the game at all. They're like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, there's a Castlevania pachinko machine as well.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's good.
Snake was in. He was in the most recent Smash Brothers, wasn't he? So maybe they'll just whore him out for a bit. They'll do like Metal Gear versus Mortal Kombat, Metal Gear versus DC.
He was in the one before the most recent one, I think.
Yeah, you're right. He was in the one before the most recent one. But yeah, just have him in everything. Just have him as a guest character in the new Injustice game. Injustice 2's coming out soon. Toss him in there. Put Raiden in there as well.
Pour him out to literally... Raiden's actually owned by Sony, because he appeared in a PlayStation Battle Royale.
Ah.
Because that's... I think like that was... what was it? That was a different company that now have the rights to use him, because it was the ones who do all the hacky-slashy games like Bayonetta and stuff.
Quiet would fit into Bayonetta very nicely.
Well, Bayonetta is very large. The oh my god, is this Castlevania on the screen, Matt?
It's Castlevania.
What the tits?
It's an erotic one.
See, that's not going to be on
an erotic Castlevania pachinko machine.
But there is basically just tits and ass and
It does
all
say
that.
it does at one
All
point
those
just say
crevices.
it says erotic violence
Yeah.
at one point.
Erotic
The only
But it
violence.
doesn't
English-
translate very, very well. That doesn't
That's
seem
what I think
good.
of when I think of Castlevania. I think erotic violence.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm sad and uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
Hashtag erotic violence.
That's just Jesus. Jesus. Hey, we've done the fuck Konami news. Can we do fuck Nintendo news? Because we've got more.
Oh, do we?
Yeah,
let's
remember last week I was like, hey, there was that really awesome Pokemon Uranium thing. Yeah, Nintendo have taken it down immediately.
Yep, after 1.5 million downloads, which I don't really see logically how that cost Nintendo anything particularly, because it wasn't being charged for, and it's not like people aren't going to buy more Pokemon games because they've played Uranium.
Yep.
It is pretty much the opinion of just keeping the franchise warm while they're waiting and making X and Y or Sun and Moon or Salt and Pepper
But
or whatever's up next.
It's nice, isn't
No,
it?
right.
I mean, it's 9 years these people were making Pokemon Uranium for. They were doing it for 9 years. Publicly, they were making it like, we're making this game. And then they release it, and then Nintendo kill it.
No, the thing with Nintendo, right, is they seem to be very much of the opinion of like most companies don't, because they know they are realistic about how the world works. But Nintendo seems to be very the idea of like trademarks that if you don't defend your trademark, you lose the trademark, right? But there's a reasonable like exception to that for like fan stuff, and most companies understand that. Nintendo don't seem to. They think they have to defend their trademark to fucking
Yeah.
I don't know the word, teeth and
The nth
You know what I-
degree.
yeah, like they don't seem to have any thought. Like the legal department is just like blanket shit.
Yeah.
Did you see the note that they actually left on Uranium's the download page, by the way?
Go on.
Which I quite liked. Basically, it was like saying, oh, by the way, we've received this note, so obviously we're not putting it down anymore. Now, if somebody were to re-upload it to a third-party host, that's nothing to do with us, and we certainly wouldn't be encouraging anyone to go and look for those. But if they do, then, you know, maybe exercise a little bit due caution, because we can't guarantee it's legit, but hope nobody does that. Winky face.
Tooth and nail. Shout some for me. Tooth and nail.
That sounds like the new Pokemon.
Pokemon Tooth or Pokemon Nail. You get Growlithe in Tooth, but Vulpix in Nail.
Oh.
Obviously, you want Vulpix. Now Vulpix is an Ice Fox Fairy or whatever the fuck Vulpix is now.
I don't give a fuck. Because I was playing Pokemon Uranium, I was like, this is really cool, it's Pokemon on my PC. And then after about an hour, I was like, yeah, I don't like this. Because it's Pokemon. And
Yeah,
it's-
Pokemon is
it'll do.
okay. I was saying this to someone the other day, in that how Pokemon, I don't think would still be as pop. It's purely nostalgia, because Pokemon in itself is not a very good
Everything
game.
Nintendo currently do.
Well, no, you
purely
say that.
nostalgia.
No, you say that, but
I do, 'cause
okay,
it's accurate, and I say
a
things
lot
are
of
accurate.
it. No, a lot of it is nostalgia. Like, I'm not saying that a lot of it is so successful because it's nostalgia, but I think some of it would still be successful just because they're good games. Like, yeah, Mario is a lot of nostalgia, but they're still good platformers. You know,
Yes.
they'd probably be reasonably
Oh yeah, they
successful.
make good enough games. They just don't go anywhere like adventurous with them, really.
No,
That's
but
its
Pokemon,
galaxy.
I think Pokemon especially is a kind of game that if people didn't have if I picked up Pokemon now, as someone who's never played Pokemon, I'd sit there going, this is not a very good game, because it's not, and unless you have the nostalgia for that experience, you're not going to care.
It's also
Yeah.
been very gently polished over, I think at this point, 6 or 7 generations. Which
Yeah,
is like
but
from
very
the
fine.
footage of the battles and everything in the overworld from Sun and Moon, you can literally go back to Red and Blue and see, oh, I see how these things are actually still, though they look very different, they're actually still very, very close
Yeah,
mechanically
it's functionally
to each
the
other.
same.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Like I mentioned it with GEA in that, like, it's not the same thing. Like, San Andreas is definitely, like, mechanically, 5 is very different to San Andreas. I recommend a lot of people go back to San Andreas, but I understand people going back to it and going, this is shit, because mechanically, oh, it's definitely a product of its time. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
We've moved on. We've absolutely moved on.
Yeah, but it's an excellent game, and I think if someone in the modern generation who's only used to GA and stuff like that, 5 goes back to it now, they're going to go, this is shit, because even though it's an excellent, I think it's a good RPG, it's mechanically, it's an old, it's like a PS2 era 3D game, and they are inherently shit. So, you know, unless you have the nostalgia like I do, you're not going to enjoy it, and I think that's just for all Pokemon, because Pokemon's never really changed.
Yeah, and people will argue and complain, oh, actually, they've changed
Yeah.
these things, that these 27 hidden stats that all your Pokemon have are all very different now. But
the only things you'd notice if you fucking played it for.
Well, the thing is, you literally don't need to give a shit about any of that stuff to play the game. The actual campaign does not require any of that. There's never been a point in any of them where you're actually pressed. The game kind of just goes with you.
That's good game design. They have got easier. The first one was actually
absolutely. I played
the first one was
recently.
brutal. The final rival and the Elite Four in the first one versus how high roughly you were likely to be if you literally fought every trainer in the world before you got to them, unless you actually went grinding against wild Pokemon. They were really challenging. And then the second generation, they were ludicrously easy. And since then, they've kind of wandered around. Fourth generation was a bit harder again, but the Elite Four's just got really, really easy. And the first gym there's never been a harder first gym than in the first game.
Yep.
With Brock, if you happen to pick Charmander.
If you haven't picked fucking Pikachu.
Oh, yeah. Well, no. Yellow was easier because you got Nidoran and Mankey. It was the original Red and Blue if you picked Charmander that was the real nightmare.
Don't say that, John. I'm just thinking back to you fucking singing the Pokemon rap.
Nidoran, Mankey.
That's true. Nidoran and Mankey do go next to each other.
I know.
Yeah, they do. That's why it's like, Nidoran, Mankey. And that's all. I just remember you saying that very specifically. Because that bit on the VOD of the podcast where I just added you alone singing it at the end for like a good minute. Like, I spent a good while editing that.
Oh, thank you.
So it's burned into my brain bits of it.
I think Nintendo's thing is that they're worried that they make a bad game and it kills the franchise dead. Which is why they try and hold everything together themselves. Like, for instance, Metroid. They killed Metroid. And they know it with Other M. They ruined Metroid. And since then, what Metroid games have come out? Well, that football
Federation
player,
Force.
that bollocks. Yeah. That's it. That's Metroid now.
They could just make Metroid Prime U, and I think people would forgive.
I don't really like the Metroid Prime series so much for the 2D ones. But
I
they
could
do that,
I
but they
loneliness.
won't.
They were very lonely, which I liked.
I like that. But they won't actually do any of those things at all.
Except they kind of fucked that up in Metroid Prime 2, where the loneliness was replaced by a large number of people who stood around talking to you, because apparently they didn't realise what was good about the first one.
Well, no, this is because we were talking about this. Like Final Fantasy, for example, is a game that definitely... Like, playing Final Fantasy 15 is going to be a lot different to playing the original Final Fantasy. They're completely different games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But Pokemon isn't that at all.
Yeah.
It's
refined. There's two ways of doing sequels. There's the expand on the core idea and then sort of, like, branch out a bit and try new things, which is the way I like a sequel to go. Or there's the same but refined way, which is what Call of Duty and stuff does. Which I'm not too keen on.
I mean, refinement, though, it only works to a point, doesn't it? Like, the refinement in Call of Duty kind of makes some sense because people will always want just that game with upgraded graphics. But, like, something like Pokemon, you can't... It's such a simple thing.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, you could easily... I've said 1,000 times, because the thing is that the Pokemon Company, their main ones... I mean, they make a million different Pokemon games, but they're never actually... You're a trainer who goes out to catch Pokemon. They could literally create an open world on the Wii U... and actually have catching Pokemon, make it a lot more dynamic. Say, have the face buttons, so you only ever play as the trainer, have the face buttons like the 4 attacks that your Pokemon knows, and then like the battle happens dynamically in front of you, so if they're in a bad spot when you do it, then it's going to be a bit of a problem for them.
Can we please just get rid of the 4 attacks thing? I know it's been in the thing for bloody 7 generations at this point.
Changing the game up enough, but keeping it fundamentally the same.
No, don't get rid of the 4 things, because God forbid there be some form of strategic or tactical depth.
The great thing is, right, you do the thing that Dan's suggesting, and then you can progress to getting rid of the 4 things. Like, you can adapt it over time like Final Fantasy did. You don't need to immediately go, oh, let's do something.
But that's the thing. And then, like, on the D-pad, that's when you have your movement things. But, of course, your Pokemon, it'll move faster and better the more you tell it to do these things. So if you're like, move to the left, and then lightning, like, you're chaining attacks up, it might take a while, it might ignore you. So we don't have levels. That's the thing I would strip out first, is the leveling. I'd have your Pokemon would gradually get better at following your orders. And so you'd actually get a feel for your Pokemon and actually get those relationships that the game seems to think you have with your Pokemon.
You need to have a quantifiable metric to it, though, because, like, frankly, you need to be able to look at something and go, yeah, this is what the relationship is. Even something subtle, you need to have something that you can look at and go, yeah, rather than it just be a feeling thing, though.
Well, no, it would be literally...
it would be...
work. You'd get more moves as you'd go along and stuff, but the moves would happen faster. You'd actually see that thing happen faster, and maybe they'd get, like... that if you've got, say, a Pikachu, it'll start off just being a Pikachu, just normal stuff, but then as it starts leveling up, maybe it gets more static around it as it's getting better, and it looks like it's stronger and buffer sort of thing. You know, you actually physically change the Pokemon as well. So basically you take all the numbers away and just have yelling orders and letting the battles happen a bit more dynamically, which it takes away, because Pokemon at the moment is just mash the strongest move. And it's always been mash the strongest move, and this will give it, if you take away which move is the strongest stuff, you actually have to respond and change. Like, you don't have, you could always also take away health bars as well. It's always a risk. I do like playing with taking away as much from the player as possible, but giving them the same information but through different means. So, yeah, we had health bars back in the day, but now why don't we have it through animations? I mean, we've had it through animation for ages, but properly,
the great thing now is we can do such detailed character models now that you can just, if you're in third person especially, literally just show the character getting more tired and bloodier and battered.
Yeah.
You say this, but actually I'd say the one thing technology has fallen behind on is, although we can do amazing textures and modelling and environments, animation and realistic animations, in particular models interacting with each other dynamically, is the one thing we cannot make games do properly.
Some games are getting it now.
Yeah, I'd say it's the thing we're the furthest behind in. This is why there has never been a realistic kiss in the entire history of gaming, because no one's ever figured out a way to make two faces smushed together properly.
But no, you look at I'm gonna use fucking. It's a bad example, but it's the WWE games, the new ones.
Yeah,
they have reasonably good interactions.
How's the sticking in that?
Very good. Pristine. But no, Matt's right. There are moments in those games where it clicks really well. It is only moments for now, but when you bust out an RKO out of nowhere, and you actually get the guys, instead of actually it being a preset animation, your character model actually goes for his neck and grabs it and it all plays out properly, it feels so much better. And when a move actually hits and looks like it's got a force behind it, I mean, most of it's sort of preset stuff, but there's a fairly large amount of dynamic-y moments you get in those games.
It's a game like that is going to push that forward, though, because that is literally the main mechanic of the game, is that connection, and I imagine that will leak out into other games eventually.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Pokemon is you don't need to have them interact, really. Most of the moves are long range and stuff. If it's punches, you just whoosh, and then there's an effect. You don't need to see it really hitting.
Yeah,
but I think there's a good amount of fun.
No, I want it to just end up they keep changing it and changing it to a point where they just make it super realistic and it's just cockfighting. That's all it is.
That is genuinely where it will be. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just in a sleazy barn full of weird Americans, and it's just cockfighting, and it's just bloody and horrible and
Yep.
And the police come in, you're like, no, officer, I just wandered in here, I was looking for the bathroom, and you have to, half the mechanics is you just trying to talk your way out of the police station.
Or we could not do that side of it, and we could actually just make it a thing.
I want to join Team Rocket. I want to have the option to join Team Rocket.
Loads
of the early games actually had a Team Rocket member saying, hey, you should join Team Rocket, and you had no choice but to say no, or refuse. No, let me join Team Rocket. I want to have an entirely different game where I just steal all the world's Pokemon.
Just fucking right. Just get Obsidian to make a Pokemon game.
Yeah, pretty much. And then ultimately we get to enslave Mewtwo and use its psychic powers to destroy the world.
Yeah.
That would be fun. But it would be, like I've said, if you've got this nice open world that can be very simple because you can do it with a nice cartoon style. I mean, we've shown easy that that's a style that even lower spec consoles and things can do. You have that sort of animated style to it, the cell shading. Then you'd actually be able to have Pokemon to scale. So instead of just being random Pokemon everywhere, you actually could get into the fights properly and stuff. And you could have, see how big an Onix is. I mean, then you get beautiful moments of instead of being there's a fat bird somewhere, and then you see, a thing that doesn't look anything like it, and you talk to it, and it's Moltres. Or you just stumble upon it randomly, or however you found the ancient bird stuff. In this one, you could just be wandering around, and it could be a dynamic event where you see something just fly off, and if you've got a bird Pokemon, you can send it after it to start a battle going on or whatever.
Like that, because thematically I find Pokemon interesting. It's just the gameplay doesn't interest me to shit.
Yeah,
and that sounds cool.
It needs to be updated, and the fact is it's a Game Boy game with a higher bit of polish nowadays. Really.
That literally banks on nostalgia to sell it, so if they change it...
Yeah, I think this is why there's never been a console version, because they couldn't get away with it being as is on main console, and when they've tried, it's always been like the Pokemon Stadium games, which was just basically battling games. There was basically no campaign, it was just an endless stream of battles. Yep. Colosseum on the GameCube had a bit of a campaign, but the areas you were exploring were really, really small. It was effectively just 3D-ified, really tiny interior environments for the most part. They haven't done a proper one. I don't think they really want to, because every time they try and do the battles look kind of terrible, because how static the battles are. No, really.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's
it's
why
the
you want it to be...
staticness. The moment you've got a 3D arena where the camera's moving around and seeing 3D models, the fact that they're standing opposite each other, just bouncing up and down, waiting for their turn, it looks so farcically
That's
bad.
why you make it as dynamic as possible.
I've just been reminded, and all I can think of is just Emma and Dan and Gmod, just with fucking Pokemon models, bashing them with each other.
Future.
Awkwardly, these ragdolls just slamming into each other and flopping all over the place.
Yeah,
that's the game.
That's what we need. Is we just need to have it. Just needs to go into the world of 3D like properly. So you get that sense of immersion. I mean, imagine you've beaten the Elite Four and you're like, I am unstoppable, and you take your first step out and the Elite Four's up a plateau and you're like, yeah. So you see like out across the entire of whatever region you've got, and the volcano in the middle just explodes. There's fire pouring out of it, and there's like, you know that there's something legendary and vicious there, and you're like, well, I gotta go get that.
You see, most people probably think, hey, thousands of people are at risk of dying through lava at the moment, we should try and do something to help. But okay, you do you, Dan.
Yeah, I do,
you do
mate.
you.
I'd
be saying, how can I assist with the rescue and search efforts? But
that's the thing, you could literally have moments like that. You could literally have you're going down a thing and then we random event, a house is on fire, and if you got a water Pokemon, you throw it out and it can spray. Oh, thank you. You know, you have those little moments. You have sort of the thing that Red Dead did really well, have those little moments and interactions in the game. So you actually build up the stories as you go.
Pokemon's always had this weird moment in it where any crisis, no matter like how universe-threatening it is, can always be solved by catching a Pokemon. It doesn't matter. Like in the 4th generation, literally time and space unravel. Yep. Like the universe actually collapses in on itself, and the universe starts being sucked into a inverted black hole. All of creation of all of time and space. We're talking series end of Doctor Who level disaster, and it's solved by you going and catching a Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what solves it. Then the universe is safe again.
Yep.
No one really explains how that works,
in
but
X
it
and Y,
does.
there was some. I think I played Y, but there was some bollocks about some big doomsday bollocks, and you had to just catch a Pokemon, and that stopped it from blowing up or killing everyone or something. I don't remember because no one plays these games for the plots that they've written. I genuinely
shit.
It's just so it's an RPG without plot. Like that's what most RPG. Like when Final Fantasy, like I've never really cared for Final Fantasy 7 or anything, but nobody's ever gone, oh, you got to play Final Fantasy 7. The gameplay's amazing. People are like, you've got to play Final Fantasy 7. The plot is fucking insane. Like that's the thing. That's the reason that they have such shitty gameplays, because they're trying to fit as much story and world building in there as possible. Because you had to deal with those limits back in the day. But now Pokemon, I think, never had the story thing. So I think it should go more the.
Well, no, because it could be interesting. Like they could. There is the universe is interesting enough that they can do interest, but they just don't. Yeah. Which I think annoys me, because you can see the potential there, and that's why it's like, oh.
I mean, it's a very simple story, but it kind of works. It's just the basic. You are a little kid from an ass-end town that no one's heard of and no one cares about, and then you slowly get better and stronger until you're the champion of the world. It's a simple power fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that works. It doesn't need to be hugely complicated.
No, I'd like it just to take the Team Rocket bollocks out, and I'd like you to actually have competition of just friendly competition. I think there's a lot to be had where actually, instead of being like, oh, here's me and my rival, actually just be in a school, and then you got these 30 people that are around the place all trying to get to be number one. But then, of course, like you actually, in the story, you advance it a bit. You can actually... I don't know, I kind of want you to have like training moments and stuff where we advance the clock, so I want you to age as you go through, because it feels weird, like this little kid spends 20 hours and he becomes the ultimate Pokemon god.
So what, you start at NXT essentially, you go up, you get the sort of like Continental Championship, then you go on to get the fucking Universal Championship, and then Finn Balor kicks your tits off.
Yeah, then you get suspended for violation of the wellness policy.
Fucking Eva Marie got suspended 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And then Earth gets
like 5
black
people.
hole,
That's
and you have to solve it by
Page
catching Giratina.
Yeah.
Is that a Pokemon?
I didn't hear what...
Actually, interestingly, that's actually kind of the direction the more recent Pokemon games have went. Like in like the 4th and 5th generations, like it's not really rivals anymore. It's like you and your friends, and you fight each other, but it's much more friendly.
Yeah, that's one of the things I liked about well, if they weren't so just boring friends. I kind of like that, but I want you just to have this. I don't know. I think that would be something fun if they just break the mold, because we've done that story now for 7 generations, and it's just not an interesting story. Like, here's an idea, Jurassic Park style. Your player's an older sort of Pokemon trainer who's been there, done that. He's got his trusty, whatever the fuck they want the starter Pokemon to be. And so you only have one starter Pokemon. And there's a new island they've just discovered. And it's filled with brand spanking new Pokemon that could have been around since the dawn of time. You go and investigate this island.
That's not where dinosaur Pokemon come from, Dan. You go digging and you find a fossil and you take it to a scientist and the scientist makes it live again, because that's what science does.
Okay, have either of you played Jurassic Park Operation Genesis?
Yes.
No.
Have you, Dan?
Yeah.
See, that is that. It is a management game, John. It's basically like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but with Jurassic Park, and you have to like send scientists to dig up fossils and then get the genetic information out of them, and then make dinosaurs, and then you have to feed the dinosaurs. And then the T-Rex breaks out and no, God. You have to like. I looked for a PC version, and it's like the discs are really rare for PC for some reason, and like really expensive.
What's a disc?
Oh God! But no, you have to, and then the T-Rex escapes, and then it kills half your park people, and you're like, oh God, oh no, I have to evacuate them. But the storm comes, like a tornado comes along, it destroys your fence. The T-Rex gets out and just fucking starts eating people. Then you have to get in the helicopter and try and shoot it with a trank gun, but the trank gun's not powerful enough, so then you just have to kill it. And it's like, oh no!
Is the game over screen just Jeff Goldblum kind of lecturing you about how you shouldn't have meddled?
Oh, it's like dicks out for T-Rex. It's like, oh no, he's got a child. Look, I'm referencing a meme.
You're making this sound really hilarious. That just like the new mission is, oh no, the T-Rex has a child. We should go rescue Timmy. Objective 1.
Oh, kill the T-Rex. Oh no.
Yeah.
You must now make a choice. Do you sacrifice Timmy because the T-Rex is magnificent and you can make some money off him if you can just recap? Yeah, sacrifice Timmy. Sacrifice Timmy. Fuck Timmy.
Fuck Timmy. Oh, fucking hell.
Speaking of nostalgia, have you seen any of the new stuff about Yooka-Laylee that just came out of Gamescom? Possibly today.
It's a game.
It's made by the Banjo-Kazooie people.
It's not just that. Like, I was excited for it when I just thought, okay, this is the Banjo-Kazooie team, thinking, hey, Banjo-Kazooie was good. Yes.
First of all, you need to rethink your statement there. You said, I'm excited for. You can't be excited for video games anymore, John. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I said I was excited.
Let
me clarify. When it was just the Banjo-Kazooie team saying, let's make an old-style N64 platform, I was thinking, okay, I can get behind this idea. The new trailer that's kind of come out of Gamescom is, they're not making a game that's like Banjo, they're making Banjo.
Yeah.
Like, down to there's a prevalent honeycomb motif, even though neither of them are bears. That was why there was a honeycomb motif in Banjo-Kazooie, because one of them was a bear. Now there's a really prevalent honeycomb motif at the end of the trailer, even though one of them's a dragon and one of them's a bat, I think. I'm not even bloody sure what it is. I swear there's music that sounds incredibly like the Teddy Bear's Picnic in the background of the trailer, which was the theme that was playing in Gruntilda's Lair and Banjo-Kazooie. They've confirmed that they've got the Mumbo-style transformation. It's just... It feels now like it's moving away from let's make a game that is like the things you used to like into, hey, let's just make a straight-up nostalgia grab. And now I'm more worried than I was before.
I never played Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, you missed out. It's a great game.
Literally, like, I didn't play any of these type of games because I didn't get into gaming until I was, like, older. And I think the only one of those kind of era platform, like sort of 3D platforms I played was Blink the Time Sweeper, which was a launch title for the Xbox. And it was shit. Although it did do
all
nice
of the Xbox
water.
launch titles were shit.
No,
Matt.
it did do nice, because they were all tech where it was like, look how good our water is. Look what the PS2 can't do. Look, we can do nice looking water. It was like, yeah, that's very nice looking water, but where's the gameplay? It's like, you have a Hoover that can hoover time. It's like, what do you mean it can hoover time? Ooh, don't think about it. What do you mean don't think about it?
Hoover that can hoover time?
I hate it when I'm sitting in my office and looking on the floor, I'm like, oh, look at that fucking time that's everywhere. This
does sound like something the doctor would say just after he's regenerated, when he's completely out of it and just making up random gibberish.
He's Blinked.
I've got a Hoover that can hoover time.
No, Blink's the Time Sweeper, right? He is a cat with a Hoover, like a time Hoover.
Stop saying time Hoover.
He has to go around like hoovering time because he's the Time Sweeper.
Matt, alright, I have a question, honest question for you. Did you just play Luigi's Mansion while on LSD?
Okay, when the Hoover,
it was
when the
basically
time
Luigi's
Hoover is
Mansion
full, how do you empty out the Hoover, and
don't know,
what's
I
in
think
the
you have to
bag?
You just gotta
What is
wait a
time
bit.
What is
beer?
it
No.
time?
Just clocks. Just melted clocks.
It's just clocks.
No,
It's just
the
Hoover
green
time,
wibbly
eventually you've
things.
just got a clock in a bag.
They're just green wibbly things, John. Stop overthinking it. God.
Well, does the Hoover ever fill up? Does that ever happen in the game?
I'm looking at a video of it, and I mean,
Okay,
I don't
what do
know,
you
I
do
can't
with the
remember.
time? Is it a Prince of Persia thing where you can reverse time using the time you've
John, I
hoovered?
haven't played it for fucking over 10 years. Give me a break, man.
I haven't played Banjo-Kazooie over 10 years. I can still describe each level to you in detail.
Yeah, but Banjo-Kazooie was probably a good game. Like,
Yes, it was, but Blinks had a time hoover.
Oh my
which
God.
Banjo-Kazooie didn't have. How
I've
could you
looked
possibly
up
forgotten
footage
this?
of Blinks the Time Sweeper, and it looked like it came free with cereal. It's incredible.
Put it on the stream, Matt.
No,
Get Blinks
Oh
up.
my god. He's
They
fighting.
put
He's
right.
Get the
got a
time
gun.
hoover on the stream, Matt.
He's got a gun. I think that's the Hoover, but it's sucking up barrels. What he's doing is he's just sucking up
Time barrels.
and firing them at space hoppers.
No, that's where
You
they're
have to
storing the
understand.
time. It's in the barrels.
that Blinks the Time Sweeper put all its graphical power into having like the occasional pool of water that looked nice. With like physics, because I think it was one of the first games to do water with physics.
Yeah.
It's like, look, we can do water with physics. It's like, this has nothing to do with the
Oh, here we
gameplay.
go.
It's like, have you ever seen Hydrophobia Prophecy? That's a video game.
I like
that's
that.
cheap on I do. It's the cheapest. It's like 60 pence on Steam, and it got really bad reviews. But it's a
It's
puzzle
because it's
game.
the laggiest
with-
piece of shit in the world because they spent so much fucking time on the water they forgot to put.
It is, but it's a puzzle
my
game
God.
based entirely around like water physics, and it's got kind of the Watch Dogs camera jumping as well. I like it, and if you see it goes on sale for like 50 pence all the time, and it is totally worth it.
Two things about it. One, the climbing and the combat is shitty.
Shocking.
Shitty. And two, skip the opening cutscene because it has a really horrible jump scare in it.
It's crap.
For no
But-
reason. It's not even
but
a horror
50
game.
pence.
Yeah.
50 pence, good game. And that is a game with water mechanics as main focus, so it makes sense. Blinks is not a game with water mechanics as main focus. Blinks is a game about hoovering time things.
I can't help but notice from the footage you've put on the stream that the time appears to manifest as Blinks can pause time, but that also includes pausing himself, and that's just a pause button. Okay? That's not time travel powers, that's a pause button. That's in literally every game ever.
No, you can pause the game and then walk around. And the whole idea is you sucking.
Oh my
He
God.
wasn't a second
Matt
ago,
is
he was paused
genuinely
with the game.
defending Blinks the Time Cat.
No,
What the
look,
fuck
he
is
was
going on?
paused as the pause button was
No,
activated.
right. I want to give Blinks the Time Sweeper a fair go here. All right.
Matt, do you like No
Look,
Man's
he's
Sky?
paused
Have
during
you been
the
defending it
pause.
on the internet?
It's the fucking tutorial, John. It pauses to give you text. It was the fucking 2002. He's a
Why
he's
is
a
he
cat with
fighting
a.
space hoppers?
So he's a cat with a time hoover. Don't overthink it.
Why has he got
It
goggles
looks more like a
on?
time strimmer to me. You sure it wasn't a time strimmer?
Oh,
You got a slow. Yeah, I bet you did.
for God's sake.
Look,
it was
now he's turned into a frog. Oh no, it's just the terrible shadowing.
Look, it was an interesting concept at the time.
Yeah, well,
Was it?
This was just after
Yes.
9/11, so you know the world was a different
No,
place or something.
it was. 'cause
Oh,
it
you
was
got
one
a
of the
bad crystal combo there.
Oh no!
It
I
was
really
one of
wanna
the
get a
first
bad crystal
games.
combo.
It was
You
one of the
end up
first games
imagining
that sort of
games
did
like
time
this.
mechanics. No, it was one of the first games that did proper like time mechanics where you had to pause time.
Really? Because the Prince of
use
Persia
stop
came
on.
out
No, Prince of
way
Persia
before
was
this.
before this.
I didn't say the first, did I? And,
Yeah, but
and
When
it
you're the
was.
second and you're shit, that's not particularly good.
look, and also it had the nice water.
Yeah, where is that
You know
water?
what this
We're
game
not
was?
seeing that
This was-
water right
no,
now,
no.
Matt.
No, this game was Rise Son of Rome for the original Xbox.
Yeah,
is
but
what it
Rise Son
was.
of Rome is kind of hilarious for how historically inaccurate it is. This is just, well, I guess this is scientifically inaccurate.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, cats
I mean,
don't
I
wear
was-
goggles.
God no, silly John. You should know that. You own a cat.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, but she's. We wouldn't try and put goggles on her. She's traumatized in general.
She's just generally traumatized.
She
All the
is.
time.
She's nervous and skittish. The poor thing. She was homeless
Oh.
for 2 years,
Oh.
and she was badly injured at the end of it, which is how she came to be captured.
hang on, this game
And
came
then-
out after Time Splitters. That's a time traveler game.
Yeah, but it doesn't have any time
Well,
travel
of course
in
it does. It's called
to be
Time
honest.
Splitters.
Come on, Time Splitters is really... Even in Future Perfect, there's not really time travel in it.
I mean, it
counting.
launched October 7th, 2002.
He got a secret cat medal when it was just literally in front of him. That's not secret.
It's a tutorial, John. Fuck off. That happens in every game. It It happens in Doom, the new
No,
Doom, for
in
God's
Doom,
sake.
even in the first level, the secrets are at least somewhat hidden. You can easily
Around the
miss
really
secrets in the
obvious
first level of
corner.
Doom.
What about Sonic CD?
What about Sonic CD?
That time travel.
Look, you don't have to name... Look, it wasn't the first. I'm not saying it was the first.
I looked on Wikipedia for a list of games containing time travel. It's the 79th game that came out that contains time travel, according to the list of games.
Is that
containing
button
time
an
travel.
eject button? What does the
Okay,
eject
first of all,
button
When
do?
did Majora's Mask come out? Because that had a lot of time travel.
Yeah, that's
wait,
way better
no,
time travel.
Wait,
Yeah.
no, stop, wait. No, time travel
Fuck
is a
your
very
Blinks
vague...
the Time Cat.
No.
Fuck your time
Fuck
hoover.
your shitty
Hashtag
double
fuck the
wearing
time
cat.
hoover.
No, right. No, time travel is a really vague when you say time travel, do you just mean like you swap and you go back like a year? Or is it a game with like real-time rewinding of time? Like, there's a difference. There's a significant difference there.
Hashtag fuck the time hoover.
Oh, for
I'm going
God's
to retweet
sake.
it because I
Yeah.
can't be bothered to it.
Look, it was basically Xbox's attempt at Mario and it really, really failed.
Oh my god, that was...
It really failed.
My god. Terrible.
I remember getting that and playing it as like it was.
Why
like,
are you
it was
trying
like-
to defend this?
I'm not. No, I'm trying to give it a.
indefensible.
No, right. I'm not saying it was good. I'm just trying to give it a fair chance.
Matt, are you role playing as a No Man's Sky fan right now? I really have to ask that question.
Look. It was on a new console from a new company. Give it a break.
Was it? Yeah, it was a little indie company, was it?
Look,
Did he promise a lot? I definitely,
Look.
you know, all you like boring games, Matt. That's what it's about. I like
Okay,
mining when there's no purpose. Oh my god!
No, you don't have to mine. In No Man's Sky, you don't have to mine. You can do anything. If you don't want to mine, you don't have to mine. That's what they told us.
Yeah.
So it must be true.
Hope you just want to live on that planet and stare at shit. Because you ain't doing anything.
I'm looking at the Xbox original launch titles.
Oh my god, this is going to be
Like
amazing.
Project Gotham Racing,
Oh my god, that's my
Ooh,
favourite Batman game.
yes.
and actually a Batman game called Batman Vengeance.
Never even heard of that.
But apparently, even though it was a launch title, it launched on PS2 before the Xbox. That's nice.
Oh my god.
Well, that's fine. In all fairness, the Wii's launch title Twilight Princess launched on the GameCube first. It happens.
Oh, piss off.
I do like that in the launch titles, there's just a game called Shrek.
It's just Shrek.
Just nothing more than just the word Shrek.
I think there was even a party game as well. I think that was a really crappy party game.
Just Shrek.
There's definitely been a Shrek party game. I'm not sure if it was that one, though.
I like this did literally launch a couple of weeks after 9/11, which probably didn't help it very much. That's it.
Actually,
exclusives.
a few things did get a benefit, because anything that had a real good feel-good thing to it did well. Because Spider-Man, the film, did really well out of the post-9/11 feeling.
No, that's true. I mean, it launched with Dead or Alive 3, Fusion Frenzy, Halo Combat Evolved, NASCAR Thunder 2002, Oddworld, Munch's Odyssey.
Dead or Alive. Is that... I'm not so hot on my fighting franchise. Is that just the one with the tits, or is that the one with an actual good game as well as the tits?
That's the one with the tits.
It's just the tits.
It's just the tits.
Yeah.
Simpsons Road Rage?
That's terrible game. Why are you saying terrible games?
Look. Alright? Mate.
Yeah, mate. Alright, grade under A, steady on.
Star Wars Obi-Wan? That's all it's called.
Just Star Wars
was
Obi-Wan.
Was that the first game in the Obi series, or was that just like...
Followed by The Adventures of Greedo.
It looks like a precursor to kind of the old Jedi other one. I can't remember the name of them.
The old Jedi other one. Yeah, that's my favourite Star Wars game.
Dark Forces,
Jedi.
Jedi Academy.
Look.
I thought you said Dog
off.
Forces.
Not
yeah,
Dog, that would be better.
Oh,
it's just that
I would play a game
WWF
called
Raw.
Star Wars Dog Forces.
Launched
I would play the hell
WWF
out of
Raw.
that.
Which,
WWF Raw, one of the only wrestling games I've never even heard of.
It was literally. It says it was the first WWE game released on the Xbox, and also the last WWE game to be released on PC until 2K50.
Yay!
So it's what killed it on PC.
That was good.
Jet Set Radio Future.
That was quite good. Jet Set Radio's a good franchise.
A load of other ones I've never a load of Japanese ones because they were trying to fucking compete with Sony and Nintendo and Sega, which is not a good market to get into.
I think they did a little bit better with the 360. Just the
Buffy the
original
Vampire
Xbox was great.
Slayer. Buffy the Vampire.
Right, now you're
That-
just listing shit things.
I think that one was terrible, but wasn't there? I think the second or third one in the Buffy series was actually quite good. There was like, what was it, Dark Forces or something that was actually quite decent. It had a good multiplayer. I remember this.
Superman, Man of Steel.
Hang on, Buffy games.
I mean, it launched with some sure games. They sure were
Chaos
games.
Bleeds. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds on GameCube, PS2, and Xbox was actually genuinely a very good game.
Ooh.
In fact, actually, that was the second one on Xbox, and the first one on GameCube and PS2, and it was actually genuinely quite good.
You know, I am just looking at the original Xbox exclusives, and it is a lot of shit games.
Yeah, but that's all
We
launch
think
exclusives.
no, not even launch, just general exclusives. Like, we think the exclusives for games are shit now, but fuck me, the original Xbox exclusives were shocking. It had three decent ones.
What were
And
they?
ones you've never heard of. Like, well, you know, like I say decent as in kept around till like Halo.
Never heard of it. What's that? Is that
No,
a
of course,
Jesus
yeah, no.
thing?
That's a Jesus thing, yeah. Dead or Alive Ultimate.
Dead.
Fucking Ghost Recon 2.
Wait, did you say Dead or Alive 3 a minute ago? How many Dead or Alive games were there launching on this thing at the same time?
Many
They launched in
games.
pairs. Bouncy, bosomy pairs.
Yeah.
Bouncy, bosomy pairs.
Bouncy, bosom in pairs, actually.
Which
sounds
I-
Far
buy,
Cry
okay.
Instinct
It is like
Revolution.
Pokemon. You could buy Dead or Alive left or right.
Forza? The original Forza?
Wow.
You get a different boob on the front cover.
WWE
But to save on artwork, they
WrestleMania
literally just took the
21.
same boob and just flipped it for the other cover.
Oh,
God's sake.
I hate it when they do that. So
Oh.
lazy.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden? Ninja Gaiden.
That's
Ninja
a
Gaiden.
game!
The-
I like
Wasn't
that game!
was that terrible?
No.
The 3D one.
No, the 3D one's pretty good.
I guess I think it's one of those ones that's quite
They were
divisive.
hard
It
as-
depends if
hard
it's your
as-
thing.
Yeah, they were really fucking difficult for rightly.
I find that sort of thing really frustrating. I just don't enjoy them at all. But I think there's some people's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of kind of shit. Yeah, I am quite fond of the original Xbox, but looking back at the games on it, oh dear. I did buy the Buffy game. I found it in
Which
a shop.
one?
And
The original?
The original exclusive for Xbox original.
That was less
Buffy
good,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, I got it and I haven't tried it yet, but it's there. I bought like a load of shit Xbox games I found for like 10p in PX like months ago. I need to try them and hate my life. Just hate my life. That's all they are. Don't worry.
Aww. Oh,
Speaking of hating your life, should
Okay,
we
yeah.
acknowledge
No
the
Man's
existence
Sky.
of No Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky. Yeah,
No.
No Man's Sky.
But yeah, we can do it quickly, then we can just cut straight to
I
the
wrote a
flipping
thing about it.
intermission the moment we can't stand
You
it
did.
anymore.
You wrote a Patreon.
I wrote a
about it.
Patreon thing
You
about
did,
it.
I agreed with a lot of that. I agreed with a lot of those points.
I couldn't be bothered reading it. I was too busy having fun
Wow.
at YouTube events.
Oh, I thought you were about to say with No Man's Sky. You're busy having fun with
No, I don't even have No Man's Sky. I'm not going to buy it, and we haven't been sent any press code, so fuck them.
It's actually
Sounds
I had to fucking pay down the money for that one, but no, it's
yeah,
actually because normally my Patreon post for patrons only. I've made that one public so everyone can read it.
Yes.
There we go.
And it's very good.
I'll link
it's
it.
very, very good. I
I'll
agree with
link
a lot
it
of
in SoundCloud description and the
Yeah.
YouTube description, or Dan. Well, if Dan remembers.
And
The thing is, I don't think people will actually remember or care about the game. I think it'll be more the development and how it was handled
Yeah.
PR-wise that's going to be the thing that people remember
Super
this game for in years to come. 'Cause I think, like,
You know what?
how it was communicated before, during, and after launch
Okay,
is kind
can
of
I-
fascinating.
Can I just say, my biggest complaint about No Man's Sky is the fact that the PC press codes were only distributed through Keymailer. For fuck's sake, I have an
28 minutes
email.
after the game launched as well.
I have an email address. Why
Yeah.
can't you use that like every other one? Just, why do you have to be awkward and make us sign up for Keymailer? I don't want to sign up for... It's shit. I don't like
we
Keymailer.
signed up, we still didn't get it, fucking thing. So
No, we didn't. We haven't even got it. We signed up, we got it set up, and we didn't even fucking get it. So fuck them, essentially. Like, I sent them about 5 fucking emails to like all their fucking different accounts. No, not a single... Fuck them. Fuck them. There you go. Fuck them. Fuck that game. Fuck them.
yeah, it's
I'm more annoyed at the PR side.
And also, don't pre-order or generally buy games where they haven't provided any form of review code for a particular version, because it's almost like they deliberately stopped everyone playing the PC version because they knew ahead of time it was terrible.
yeah, it's bad. Like it's
Yeah.
like I don't really go into the running in that Patreon post. I don't really talk about how much it runs, but I mean I get a perfectly reasonable 60 out of it, just as long as I'm not moving in any direction.
As long as you're not moving.
I get 45, but with stutters, and that's on a 970.
It's the stuttering that kills it. And I've got 2 fucking Titan X's just pumping their way through that thing.
Now, for context, right, I want to briefly talk about a game which I've talked about a lot personally, but I don't think either of you have really mentioned. Space Engine.
Yep.
Yes, you've been
Space
tweeting
Engine.
a lot about this over the past couple of days.
I have, and because I played it for a while, but I feel it's especially relevant with No Man's Sky. Now, Space Engine isn't a game. It's got no game to it.
Yeah, it's
but
a toy.
It's a toy, yeah. But it does have an infinitely generated universe. I want to point out every single catalogued object we've ever catalogued as a species in science.
Does that mean if you keep going far enough, you just reach blacks that's beyond the limits of human knowledge?
Yeah, if you turn off procedurally generated stuff, you will just hit black. Yeah.
That's very cool.
You can have it so it's only catalogued stuff. So everything you see is only stuff we've actually observed, noted down, and given a name to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can set it to that. But it is a thing which I want to point out. When you look at it, it looks real. I actually found out the guy who did the atmospheric rendering was hired by Google and did the atmospheric rendering on the new Google Earth, which is why the new Google Earth looks so good. Because it's the same guy. But it is a game that does infinite generation, and it does do, when you get on the planets, they have generation, they have canyons and valleys and water if they have water, and they have lovely atmospheres, and they randomly generate the suns and binary systems and black holes and all this shit. And somehow, in a game with literally no gameplay, it seems to be more entertaining than the game with gameplay, No Man's Sky.
Does it have gameplay? Does it really?
The important thing about No Man's Sky, I think this may be one of the things. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, I think this wasn't something you specifically addressed in your Patreon post, Dan. Mm-hmm. Was I think it and We Happy Few as a pair demonstrate the limits of procedural generation.
Absolutely.
Which is you cannot procedurally generate everything on too big a scale because it totally lacks focus.
You
Procedural
can't
generation
generate
works
story.
in smaller indie games where you can set constraints and say procedurally generated within this space and within these constraints. FTL, heat signature. And in those limited constraints where you have to generate a certain number of rooms arranged a certain way with a certain number of systems and a certain number of people under a certain set of environments, where there's it's building out of a limited set of tools within limitations, it's beautiful. But the moment you try and create entire towns or entire universes, and indeed entire towns for We Happy Few where it was just a bit bland, an entire universe in No Man's Sky where the whole thing is just
it's spread too thin.
It's so
isn't it?
it's everything is identical aside from the superficial.
Gan,
doesn't work in the size. I think the bigger, I think it almost suggests to me there's a real clear pattern. The bigger the space and the greater proportion of the game you're trying to procedurally generate, the worse it is, the least focus it is, and the less it's going to work.
Yep.
Dan, what's the kind of water analogy you use? Really big but shallow?
Oh yeah, it's the one everyone uses. Wide as the ocean, deep as a puddle. No Man's Sky is wide as the universe and deep as a map. I don't know. The amount of water you could fit in an upside down push pin.
The weird thing is, though, we talk about this, right? And you know the way No Man's Sky, they make a big deal in dev blog about how they have to make it so if the planet has this on, it's got the accurate fucking.
Well, that was the thing. One of the things I really pulled up on in that Patreon post was they said that they were doing the 90-10 rule. So out of the 100 planets you visit, 90 won't have any life at all. They'll just be barren rocks. And out of those 10%, only and again they do the 90-10 rule. So only 10% of those are going to have life. That's animals and stuff. So they bet you, that'll be water, and then 10% of that will be animals. So it was a real sort of finding life would be a big deal, but in the game that came out, everything had life. It felt there's no point to any of it.
Well, I can see why, though, they wouldn't do that from a game perspective, because, Space Engine does do the 90-10 rule. It does the 90-10 rule with, first of all, heat and distance from the sun, and then it does the 90-10 rule with, atmospheres.
Yeah.
Then it does the 90-10 rule with where it has liquid on at all, whether that be water or I don't know, liquid methane or whatever. And, and then it goes further and further. So the actual likelihood of you finding a normal terrestrial planet that's 20 degrees like Earth is so incredible, because it is incredibly low.
Yep.
But gameplay wise it's kind of boring, so I can see why they wouldn't do it, but don't promise it.
But they fucked that up too, because it would have been interesting to have planets with all the animals if the animals had been interesting.
Oh, the animals don't.
But there's no ecosystem.
No, they
the
did
animals
say this.
Don't react to each other
in the
or
dev
the
blog,
environment or anything.
In the dev blog they did show a big monster chasing after a herd.
I have never seen...
It's not in the game. Not in the game.
No.
And
I just saw like 3 animals just bumbling around each other with they weren't acknowledging each other. They don't acknowledge like the existence of water or rocks. Like you can see, they literally just walk into walls because they don't acknowledge scenery.
No,
they
it's got
just
bigger problems. I mean, the
dumb random blobs.
The terrain is never interesting, apart from if they tell it to be interesting. So Minecraft has like the thing where it will spawn your terrain. You have your deserts that look deserty, and you have every now and then you come across the big sort of tall, sharp mountains, and you might get really nice, interesting things from that. This doesn't have that. This kind of has, this one has big cubes on it, and this one's got like massive snaky rocks on it. But it never, that's like everywhere on the planet, and it never does anything but that.
Yeah, and even if it does have massive snaky rocks, you're still going to get red plutonium crystals and yellow rocks and blue platinum flowers and red thamium flowers and all the rest of it, because every planet has that.
This is what gets me down, because you mentioned this, and as I think both of us who really like flying in games, like when you go, okay, here is a spaceship that you can fly around in, there is a cool looking structure with an arch.
Yeah.
And you go, I want to fly. Like in GTA, like one of the funnest things I find to do is trying to fly those planes under really small bridges.
Yeah.
And trying not to.
One of the funnest game mechanics in the world is flying a thing under another thing.
Yeah, so they went, okay, here's a game about flying and here's a game about spawning random things. Let's not let players do that.
Yeah, it's because ground and space are separate universes with an invisible wall between them, and they can never interact.
Which is what I was saying a few weeks back.
You know, I'm going to actually read your Patreon post.
It's pretty good.
I did get a buzz on my phone when I was
there's some things I didn't
on.
mention, which was one of the big things that I didn't mention was that a lot of people are heralding procedural generation as the future when it's the past. Like, what happens is most games... Say, for instance, GTA San Andreas has quite a high level of procedural generation when it was being created, because they built the cities, but then when it came to building the landscapes and stuff, you don't really want to spend the whole time, making a landscape. So they procedurally generate... I believe this is how quite a lot of open world games are done. They procedurally generate a lot of wilderness and terrain like that. They'll go boom, and then...
But it makes it look more natural as well.
When they procedurally generate something, because they know it's going to be this sort of area and it's got to look like this sort of thing, then when they generate one they like, they lock it in place, and then the artists go through and polish it up, and then put the trees in the right places and stuff like that.
And generally, something like that will make a more natural looking thing. Once again, this guy who did the atmospheric rendering for Space Engine, I looked at his other projects, and he worked for an organization which basically just tried to make natural procedural generation, and they did a natural procedural generation for forests, terrain, water, mountains, rivers, and atmospheres. And they're all really cool. These tech demos, it's actually an open source thing. If you're a game developer and you want to have a mess with that, that's open source. But sculpting it manually, we are bad at sculpting things to look natural.
Yeah.
It's very hard. And this does it for you, and then you go, I'm going to tweak that to make this work in the game. And that's what you do. It's fine.
Yeah. Whereas we just need that a little bit more, because I don't think there's a single bit of No Man's Sky where I went, that's interesting. Apart from a bit that was just sort of plonked there.
I once did, and then I was disappointed afterwards, because it turned out to just be a complete false flag, which is I went to a radioactive planet, and then I saw some rocks that were glowing green. I thought, I found uranium. No, it wasn't, because even though they were glowing green, it was a planet. Because it was rocks, they just produced iron anyway, because that's the rule for rocks. Rocks produce iron.
Well, someone's worked out that you can actually max out your ship, your suit, and everything from your starting planet. It's got all the materials.
Well, yeah, because there's so many hundreds of square miles where literally everything spawns. There's no reason why you wouldn't be able to.
No planet's got exclusive things, which I find very weird.
There'd be absolutely no reason really to bother ever leaving your first planet, to be honest, because you can
just
go around. Research bases are literally everywhere.
The whole planet's been explored. All of them. They've all been explored completely.
Explored, completely researched by researchers, and then abandoned because they got bored of it. I can understand why, having explored it myself for 10 minutes.
This is what I don't like, because the terrain's not interesting enough to want to actually explore it. The procedure generated, like bases and stuff, are really kind of small and boring, and there's nothing to them.
Yep.
And, the idea of research, you can't research a planet. There's nothing to do on the planet aside from mine things and find some other things around the place. And in something like Space Engine, there's no assumption that you go to a planet because it looks cool, and you look around it and it looks cool, and you take some screenshots and you go somewhere else because it looks cool.
No Man's Sky has a thing where there's stuff going on, there's the animals walking around that, but it's all just... you walk through the animals. They don't actually physically exist.
I can walk through the animals.
So it's like... when Christmas rolls around and they have those window displays everywhere, It's like those. They're all incredibly similar. Some of them are a bit interesting, but largely you've seen it all before. And you can't touch or play with any of the cool things, and it's like being puppeted by very obvious strings. That's what No Man's Sky is.
I hope it... Right. The thing is, like, a universe-sized game, in concept, sounds cool.
Horrible. Oh.
No, it sounds cool to most people in concept, because,
Yes.
oh, look, you can explore a universe. It's like, yeah, cool. But game design-wise, it's so... As Dan says, it's stupid, because for a game to be good, it needs to be kind of designed.
Yep.
And you can't design a universe. Like, you physically can't design a universe. Like, it's not...
Yeah.
Even with
Some of the
procedural
best games
generation.
ever made were quite small. Size is
Yeah.
not everything.
You know, San Andreas was an incredibly small game, and it was so well designed.
Yeah,
Lots
it
of
felt
people
big.
still hold Ocarina of Time is one of their favourite games of all time. That was very small in terms of the actual floor space.
Yeah.
Very small
and
world.
No Man's Sky goes, let's have a huge world, but because we haven't designed it, there's nothing to do in it, and it's very shallow. And I'm worried it's going to put people off, like, large-scale games like this, because really, you could do a large-scale game like this with a really big dev team with loads of time and, you know, years and years of development with, you know, a huge AAA team.
Yep.
But what did people expect? It's like a 15-man dev team.
Oh, well, they expected a lot more because Sony... But when people go, oh, Sony didn't help them fund the game, Sony paid for the marketing budget. They got a solitary slot at E3. That's helping them develop the game. That is probably... I'd say that would be more than the cost of actually making the game.
Yeah.
I think that killed it.
I think Sean Murray promising things in interviews that turned out that he hadn't actually developed and had no way of developing didn't help.
That didn't help. But
Space-
whole
Or the
thing of-
Peter Molyneux approach.
Yeah. The fact that every inch of space is filled with 16 million asteroids. There's no, like, space. It's just asteroid space. Looks like...
Well, where else are you going to farm Thamium forever? Good old Thamium.
You need it to keep your ship going, because there's 4 different fuel types for the fucking thing or something
I get really
ridiculous.
annoyed, but you know when you're warping and you get all that shit flying past you?
Yeah.
I hate that, because going back to Space Engine again, you can turn up the relative brightness of stars.
Mm-hmm.
That's an option. Now, it's a very dangerous option, because if you turn it up to above 11, it's like suddenly trying to render every star in the galaxy, and it shits itself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can try and push it as far as your computer can take it to the point where you're looking at this... It looks like static, but it's just stars everywhere.
Yep.
And then you move forward at the speed of light. And then, you know, you can sit there going, yes, all of these are literal stars with planets and moons and asteroids, and it's all, you know...
Yep.
Space.
Yep.
It's all empty, realistic space. And No Man's Sky, it's like, ooh, look, flashy things. Why? Because style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see,
And don't forget, space is full. Space is full and very, very busy. There's space stations and aliens and asteroids and planets
and
and
every
research
planet.
bases.
What the fuck are these planets orbiting around? Because there's no suns near them. There's 16 planets all next to each other.
Oh, it's worse than that. I once found a planet that had no sun in the system, where it had a moon circling it and a moon circling the moon. And all of them were just chugging along happily with this little 3 levels of orbit.
They took out orbit. They took out rotation of planets really early, like really recently.
They gave a reason for this in that they wanted stuff to look cool, so they put planets ridiculously close to each other because that looks cooler. It's like, well, Space Engine didn't do that, and it still looks really cool.
Yeah, Rodina doesn't do that, and it still looks really cool.
Plus, if you're going to do that for the sake of let's sacrifice realism for fun, why does it take if you don't have any Thamium? Why does it take 20 minutes to fly from one planet to another?
Yeah.
Because that's not fun. There's no way flying from one planet to another. I mean, even if you've got Thamium and you can activate your poles, it still takes maybe a minute and a half of just sitting there to go from one planet to another. Like, that's not fun. How is that ever fun? Because you can't even be shooting asteroids because there's no controls while you're in pulse mode. Yep. It's just literally sitting still for 90 seconds.
See, that's why I like...
That's indefensible. There's no fun there.
I'd like to point out that today's video is up and it's No Man's Sky Alternatives. My new way of critiquing things is to go, that was shit, I'm going to play games that are good and show you them instead.
That's nice.
You didn't play... Although, you didn't do Space Engine.
Well, I haven't played Space Engine before. This is games that I've covered before, so I've gone through
Very disappointed in you.
Space Engineers, Starbound, and Rodina. I think Rodina is closest to No Man's Sky, but it's actually been well thought out. So, for instance, when you hit the ludicrous speed mode option in Rodina, your ship's quite out of control. Like, you're going ridiculously fast, and you're crossing, because it's only set in one little solar system, but the planets are actually planet-sized, unlike a No Man's Sky with about a football field wrapped around. You're actually, when you're in the super fast mode, you're actually going out of control. So if you let it go, you'll just fuck off into anywhere. So you actually have to keep going in the direction. You actually have to. So when you're doing those long distance of travel, you actually have to do something about it.
Oh.
Plus, there's no draw distance on the planet, so they're infinite in size. And so when you sit there, you could just see the horizon on every side, and that is the best fucking thing in the world. And you can. And in Rodina, you can build your own ships, and you can customize the interior of your own ship. You can just choose. You can put your beds and stuff. It's got a little game where you're putting all your stuff down.
Well,
and you've got now view screens.
That's what No Man's Sky is missing, because the 3 games you've listed have building.
Yeah.
They have some form of interaction.
They got some form of creativity. There is literally, right, if you're building a survival game, okay, and you've got mining and crafting and stuff, you need to have the layer of creativity. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything. Every game that's been successful has been there because it's been creative.
Yeah, No Man's Sky is a game that's like, hey, explore. Why? To find things. But
there's zero creativity to it, and that's its biggest issue.
People in Minecraft, I liked exploring in Minecraft because I was looking for somewhere to build a cool base.
Yeah, that's what you do for, and you'd be looking for your minerals and then returning back to your base.
Yeah.
Whereas No Man's Sky is about the journey. It's about getting between the things. Although it's not actually about the journey, because people will defend. I love that No Man's Sky fans will defend that in both ways. Because if I go, it's about the journey, and therefore it gets these things wrong. They're like, actually, it's not about the journey because it never tells you that's a goal. I'm like, well, then why the fuck isn't it letting me settle down on the planets and do all these other things? Oh, but base building's coming later. It's supposed to be
about the ship. It's supposed to be kind of about the ship, but then the ship itself you can't really do anything with other than just upgrade it, then sell it for a different, better one. So there's no real attachment to the ship either.
It doesn't know what it wants to be, I think, is the big problem.
I think it wanted to be one very specific thing, and then Sony went, actually, could you add these things? I think the hype got to him. If Sean Murray had made himself the game that he wanted, which was just flying between planets and playing Pokemon Snap with all the animals, that would have been great. But the survival elements, the desperate attempt to add game to your gameplay, I think that's the issue. That's the big problem they've got with it. Is they tried really, really hard to add a game because they went, this isn't gamey enough. And I've been there in game design. I've gone, this isn't gamey enough. What do I do? And my answer tends to be, make it more boring, because I wanted to build the game boring.
Quick time events.
No, I'm sorry I keep going back to Space Engine, but want to get like Space Engine, they want to add a game to it, right? They want to add a game to Space Engine. It's being crowdfunded, and they have this engine. I don't want to add a game to it.
No,
it'll ruin it.
Yeah,
it's fun because it's not a game.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have all this really pointless busy work in something for it to be fun.
Yeah.
They're so worried about people going, I'm looking at a beautiful sunset for, 30 seconds. I'm going to get bored. I'm going to turn the game off. They're so worried about people's attention spans being about 10 fucking microseconds.
Yeah. I'm making, as Matt's very aware, the game I'm making is going to be, the main one that I'm making at the moment is, it's a game that I'm going to market to a very small band of boring people. And I'm aware it's being marketed towards that very small band of boring people. But that band of boring people are going to think this is the best fucking game ever made. So that's why you make it in that way. And I think that's what they should have done with No Man's Sky a bit more. Is they should have gone, hey, this is going to be a really boring space game. Let's keep it. I mean, now, because they've added the thing, it's really boring in a really boring way. If it just had you flew between the planets and took photos of the things, and I'm going to go to the next planet, the space station, maybe had a bit of buying and selling stuff. The fact they added mining and things that you could just go, no. The gameplay looked bad. It's bad gameplay loop.
I was kind of hoping, with space stations, I was hoping for sort of Mass Effect 1 type thing. It's like the space stations are one room.
Yep. With one fat bloke who sits there who you can't do anything with. So when it says you can do anything, hope the anything you want to do wasn't, I just want to meet the aliens and talk to the aliens. Because there's one fat alien, he wants to have one conversation with you, then you can piss off, sunshine.
That's one thing that I really don't understand, is when people are like, you can do anything, you could be a pirate, you can do... I'm like, how the fuck are you a pirate in No Man's Sky? That's not possible. You can't. You cannot...
You can wait for other pirates to show up and then blow them up.
What do the big ships do?
The big ships, they shoot at you. They don't exist though, you can fly right through them.
Yeah, but what's the point of them?
They shoot at you.
Functionality.
They make the universe look busier because we wanted the universe to be busy.
Yeah, they just shoot at you.
Because my thinking of them is if you're saying, you can be a pirate, the idea is, a big ship, I'm going to go on there and steal the cargo.
There are there are ships that do turn up and they do have cargo orbs that you can shoot. You shoot and you get a random chance of there being cargo. Because I tried to do the pirate route, but that's literally it. You shoot them and I got either 6 or 8 on the sides of the ship, and I shot them all and there was just nothing in it. I was like, oh. Okay, and that was it.
Yeah, oh. That's it, isn't it? Oh.
That was. It's very much the game. I think actually, it's like
For other games that do it better, by the way, just than the ones we've already mentioned, I want to recommend Stellaris, which I know is another boring game for boring people. Given it's, the sort of...
It's also quite difficult to get into. It's the sort of thing I'd very much like if I could get into it.
It's like, it took me a fair few hours and a bit of reading to get into, and I'm told, like, people who've got experience with Paradox games, and especially those who've played, like, Hearts of Iron or Europa Universalis, kind of get into it a lot more easily. But, like, having got into it, oh my god, it's so good. And even though, like, you barely see anything, like, you're just moving little ships around little models of systems and then just making them hop to different ones. And you never get to go down to a planet, there's no 3D rendering or anything. It's all done through just text and music and the ideas it's presenting to you. The sense of wonder and discovery and exploration is insane. You genuinely, it's amazing. You feel like it just nails that sense of wonder and exploration, which from the little note and like all the things that Sean Murray was saying is exactly what he seems to have wanted.
Yeah.
Like No Man's Sky to be, but it isn't in the slightest. It's incredibly linear and all the things we've been discussing. But
I don't know why No Man's
Stellaris
Sky
nails that sense of wonder. It's beautiful.
I don't know why No Man's Sky's story is told through text. A lot of people have been defending that it's like, it's story, it's got a great story. Yeah, but it's told through text, and the only aliens you ever meet are just standing there. I mean, they're everywhere, but they're all just standing there. Everything feels dead, but also like it's all been done before. There's no tone to it. I think that's another big issue.
Can we just establish something as well? Like, those 3 games you listed, Dan, those 3 games together are cheaper than No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're cheaper than No Man's Sky. Stellaris, cheaper than No Man's Sky. Space Engine, free. Free game. It's free.
Yep.
I mean, you get all those, literally get 3 of those, get either those 3 games that Dan suggested, get fucking Stellaris and get fucking Space Engine, and you have literally everything No Man's Sky wanted to do is in those games somewhere.
And we don't know how much heat signature is going to cost, but it'll probably be less as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be less than 10.
A lot of people saying, Elite Dangerous! I give Elite Dangerous a mention, but it's not my kind of thing. It's like a Euro Truck Simulator, but in space, so there's not a lot of scenery to look at.
What about, what's that other game that Scott Manley covers?
The
one with the big ships.
What? There's lots of things. I mean, there's...
No, the one with the big ships that you can actually have a crew
Star
of, like,
Citizen.
real people. Star Citizen, yeah.
I know nothing about Star Citizen.
Me neither.
So...
Me neither. But Star Citizen is once again a game that like No Man's Sky wanted to be, but actually has thought.
Yeah, and has released things that show off that it's going in the right sort of direction.
Yeah, no, I think John, you said it. I think best in that No Man's Sky is a promising, really early alpha.
It is a game which I look at and think, in 2 years' time, when they add in the game, this might be alright.
I used to play the X series. Like X3 is the newest one. I used to play those, but I ended up just feeling like a space accountant. Because it really... That's all it really was. Like, in sort of Elite Dangerous... I say in this video that you are... you're Space Del Boy, because you just go around trading, how about that, about this. But the other one, I just felt sort of like a space accountant.
You should join Eve, then you can literally be a space accountant.
Yeah, I just can't recommend Eve because it's terrible, and I have tried it, but it's really not my thing at all.
Star Trek Online. What about Star Trek Online?
Star Trek Online is really horrible and horrific, and I play it quite frequently, but that's only because I like Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Star Trek game, by the way, speaking of Star Trek, Star Trek Bridge Crew has a release date. I'm not sure if you saw this.
I did, because it's the same fucking release date as Final Fantasy 15.
Is it? I thought, no, Final Fantasy 15 was a bit earlier in November, wasn't it?
It's been delayed to the...
It's been delayed. Okay, so they're both November 29th now.
Yeah, Planet Coaster's out November 17th.
Yeah, the second half of the year is shaping up alright, isn't it? There's some good stuff floating around there.
There's going to be some good... Actually, you know
Dishonored 2, I still think Dishonored 2 is going to be good.
Oh, shit, I forget about that. I forget that's even coming out. Hey! There's a real big fuck-up happening in the LEGO world. Which I'm not. There's a Lego Dimensions Supergirl figure that's going to be exclusive to the new starter pack on PS4, which means if you've already got Lego Dimensions, you'll have to buy the entire game again to get it.
Can't you just buy it on eBay? The figure or whatever.
Yeah, but it'd be really expensive.
It'd be really,
probably
really,
about
really
as much as the starter pack. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really screwy thing. I really don't like Lego Dimensions.
Well, we were supposed to be talking about good games in the second half.
Oh, hang on, I've got something else to add to it.
Grow Up came out. That's good.
You know what? I've played some Grow Up and I want to talk about it.
Okay. Is it not good?
Well, right. Grow Home is one of my favoritist games of last year.
Mm-hmm.
I
It was
rate
lovely. I played
incredibly
it myself. It was lovely.
I think it's a absolutely perfect small experimental thing. Now, this was the game where they expanded on the small experimental thing, but still kept it at a small price. I mean, it's only like £8-9 or something.
Okay, seems reasonable.
And I was expecting, kind of the more of the same sort of thing. I was expecting kind of just the same sort of game, really. Just another go at it.
I thought it was.
It's not. What it is it's everything that was good about the original. They took that out, and then they added lots of interesting and clever stuff to it, and then they expanded upon the core, and they went, this is the sequel for the same or slightly less money than the original. It's quite possibly the best sequel of all time. Every way, it's about. This is guaranteed to go in my top games of the year list.
I'm a bit annoyed now. You were sort of building.
I know.
I was expecting a massive shitting on it.
No, it is stunning. Like that planet, the planet that you start on, like the way they introduced the planet with you falling towards it, and you go, oh my god, can I go across? Because I really didn't look up much about it, but like you go across the whole planet. The movement and the climbing is still the same. I think that's the only thing that has really changed. But your abilities from like the very first ability are different. You're not going to get the same abilities.
I'm sorry, I need to give you a proper clap for that subversion there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still impressed by that.
Thank you, thank you. Grow Up is stunning. If it's £8-9, I absolutely recommend it 100%. Like I've only played like 3 or 4 hours of it at the moment, but it's got like before there was 100 crystals, now there's 150. So
it's a full planet, isn't it? Well,
it's a planet that you go around. So it's a whole planet, but you have to go up because you have to expand out to the moon to be able to find the last piece of Mum, because Mum gets sort of blown up a bit. So you have to...
Ooh, I feel like growing a plant that literally tethers the planet to the moon is probably asking for trouble.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But, right, so the differences start immediately. So the fun about Grow Home was that when you finished it, you could look back on that massive vine that you built going up into the sky. In this one, the very first ability you get lets you basically scan and clone plants. So you latch onto a plant, press a button, you scan it, and now you can fire out as many of that plant as you want. And then if you scan another one and copy that one, you then get to switch between them. And there's I think it's 16, possibly a few more, of these different plants, all with different abilities you can plunk down anywhere at any time. So you're actually growing a garden as well as growing the big main vine thing. Although the big main vine thing stopped and bloomed a lot earlier than I thought it was. And that's as far as I've gotten. I was like, ooh, you're just subverting my expectations, game. I'm thoroughly enjoying you. But yeah,
so if it blooms early, how do you get to the moon?
I don't know yet. I haven't worked that bit out yet, but I'm looking forward to finding out. I'm having such fun. It's more of the same.
It's still the grippy climby thing.
It's still the grippy climby thing, but this time they've got a lot more of a focus on moving around in the air.
Yeah, you have the bounce kind of mushroom.
Yeah, there's those bouncing mushrooms. The jetpack you get a lot earlier. It doesn't actually raise you up anywhere. It's basically a glide, and then you get sort of the thing that will stop you crashing into the ground. So it plays it that you're traveling a long distances in directions. But from where I am, if I jump off, and I'm quite high up, I've just got to the bit where the plant stuff. If I jump off and try and go around the planet as much as possible, I don't go all the way around the planet in that thing. I barely get a quarter of the way around it in one fall. So still, it's a huge planet. And I'm really looking forward to just exploring every nook and cranny of it, because it has a lot of nook and crannies down on the base level. It's also added challenges. So there's these little races and things. It's hit these 4 checkpoints that are scattered around the place. You have to work out how to get round to all of them. And you get different unlocks and stuff for that as well. So it's a much more, it's got a lot more depth to it. There's a lot more stuff to do. If you just want to get to the top, that's fine. But you're gonna find these things along the way. If you want, me, to explore every inch of it, then you've got a lot more stuff to do there as well. It's literally a perfect sequel. Couldn't ask for more. Couldn't ask for more. Nice. Super chuffed with it. I mean, unless the ending becomes massively depressing. I was slightly worried that they're going to do sort of a dark ending to it. And it's going to be all oh, Mum died and you have to now grow, you've grown up or whatever. But, they reveal that Mum's fine, pretty much immediately. Because she gets, smashed up. And then you get a cutscene of her being a bit silly. And it's oh, good. We'll get rid of that.
The end of the game, it just kind of zooms out from the planet and then just kind of zooms out of a child's eye. And it turns out the whole thing was just a child at his dad's funeral. Just that was what was going in his head as he was having a massive psychotic breakdown.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite sad, actually.
And just a single tear rolls down his cheek, fade to black.
Yeah. That could happen. I don't know yet. I doubt that's going to be where the game goes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's gonna.
But you know what? Why that's especially interesting?
Why?
It's a Ubisoft game.
Yes, but it's also made by Reflections, who made Driver, and basically made Driver San Francisco, then Grow Home, and then Grow Up. So they've got a really good track record at the moment.
No, they do, but I mean, the main thing with Ubisoft is it's outside of the game development point. It's more the publishing side, which is concerned. Because I feel like Ubisoft, I'm surprised they didn't go in and get the go remits and go, let's expand it more and let's charge $30 for it.
Oh wait, now that it's been successful and people like it, there'll be one every year for the rest of time.
Well, this one was 1.5 years since the last one,
and the mechanically it hasn't changed much, has it?
Well,
or graphically.
Graphically, I don't think it's changed at all. Actually, no, because now you're on a circle planet. The planet's lit by 2 suns. And I swear, there's like an orange one and a white one, and so you get like an orange light and a white light being added to everything at the same time, so you know which sun's currently behind stuff. So it's constantly like changing its look and stuff.
That's pretty.
It's very pretty. I mean, you've got when the big vine's there, it is casting a shadow across the entire planet. There doesn't seem to be any like draw distance limits for shadows. So it's a very, very pretty looking game. God damn, I like it.
It feels like they like remade the same in the same engine.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I think that's why they were able to make, which is good though, because I mean the game was kind of fine as it was.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's not that they just went, okay, same thing, same upgrades. You're just doing a climbing thing. They went, okay, how do we expand on this idea? So they took the movement and the climbing, and they took the idea of going up, and everything else is different.
Yeah.
That was the first ability you got into. I mean, you had like the glider and the different plants. You had to like stock up the flowers to glide. All that's gone. Like stuff you got really early on in the game is just completely gone. It's completely vanished. And I like that. I like that they've changed things. It's got a lot. They've gone a lot cheekier with it as well. Like there's these plants. There's these flies that sort of sing. And I don't know why these flies sing, but you get like. What's the best moment I had with the flies? Like actually, no, I put on a costume that dressed me up like a bug. And you're like a big bee. And then all these flies start getting attracted to me.
Buzzy bee.
But they're all singing. They're all sort of singing like... They sound like sort of a drunk old person singing like outside of a pub at 4 in the morning. But sort of in the distance. It's really weird to describe, but there's loads of them singing it. And I was just pissing myself laughing at these really silly little fly things.
It's just a cute game, isn't it?
It's a cute game that
£8.
knows what it wants to do,
God.
and it does it. And I'm going to get like... I don't know, like 10 to 15 hours of gameplay out of it.
So I do need to like... £8.
Mm-hmm.
That is really good.
That's not even like a discount.
No, it's not that's launch price. Yeah, that's just standard.
It's a great game.
RRP.
It's really good.
Wow,
I've said that this is a thing that I want more AAA developments to do. I want them to go, let's make a small thing. We don't need to budget it very much. Let's just make a small, interesting little thing.
Well, because it did used to be, didn't it, that there would be a load of smaller teams making smaller scale games, sort of like 10, 20 years ago. And now it's developing these huge. They basically went, okay, let's take all our teams together and make a couple of really big games.
Yeah.
And it's kind of good that they're going back to this because they're kind of realizing that the indie scene is quite big now.
Yeah.
And that them sort of putting their foot in the door a little there is helping.
Yeah.
I think.
And plus,
Square Enix getting that.
bigger companies going down to the more smaller indie level, they tend to make great games, whereas indie people trying to get up to the bigger levels, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That way around doesn't work.
But, Ubisoft are doing it well, Square Enix are doing it well. They've got the Square Enix Collective, haven't they? And they've done some good little ones.
They have.
Yep, Goetia was quite good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, Life is Strange, published by Square Enix as well.
Oh, was that part of... I didn't know that was part of the Collective, though.
That wasn't part of the Collective, but I think it was one of the first games, actually, if I remember, because I went to the press briefing for that.
Well, I liked Life is Strange. It was one of my games of the year.
It was actually, when I was at the press briefing, they announced the Collective at the press briefing.
Okay.
They basically said, oh, we're going to go into this, and this is kind of the first stage of that. So Ubisoft are doing that a bit now. I hope they do that more. I mean, EA aren't... EA kind of did that with Unravel, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and then Sony did it with No Man's Sky.
That was the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, No Man's Sky didn't exactly pay for them. I mean, all these ones seem to be paid for and published by, like, the publisher. No Man's Sky wasn't published. Well, they published it on PS4, Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just thinking about it, because I've been worried that the third person, since you mentioned Banjo-Kazooie, like, the third person platform kind of died out. But Grow Home is proof that you just need to give it a little bit of zest and it can come back very basically.
Well, because the problem with 3D platforming is just the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason it went away, but Grow Up is different.
Grow Up is
It's
very
kind of still
different.
flows around just in different forms. Like in some ways, what stops Assassin's Creed being a platformer?
The fact, right, so this is the thing that I have, is that in Assassin's Creed, to climb up a wall, you hold down two buttons, and you point towards the wall.
I quite miss Assassin's Creed 2 and 1, because in Assassin's Creed 2, and especially 2, there was tactics where you actually have to press multiple buttons to use certain tools to get up and high. And Assassin's Creed 2, I think, was the perfect mix of actually having to manually do shit, and, you know, because if it was too over, if you had to do too much, it'd just be really annoying, and it'd ruin the flow of the game. But I think it got the balance right, Assassin's Creed 2, and then it sort of went, oh, let's make it easier and easier and easier, and then it's like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, just press a button, you're at the top of the building. It's like,
Yeah, you literally press a button, you're at the top of Big Ben.
Yeah.
There is to get to the top of Big Ben button.
Whereas,
Because you've got the magic climb to the top of buildings machine.
whereas in Grow Home, to climb a thing, you hold down, I mean, the left bumper controls your left arm grip or ungrip, and then the right one controls the right one grip or ungrip. And then when you're moving, the hand that isn't gripped is what the left analog stick now moves. So you grip, move the up, grip, and then basically, and that means you can actually climb using the same climb mechanics. You can climb across surfaces that are slanted, or even like you can climb across ceilings in that game. You can climb across anything because it's just consistent and it works. The way it works just keeps working. Plus, add that to the procedurally generated movement that he does, like the physics-based movement, and it just means that the game, it just looks so much better. I think they've done a bit of work refining it. It seems a little glitchier than I remember, but it also seems to be doing really interesting stuff as well. I like it. I like it a lot.
really?
And you know what?
Tell.
You know what? And here's a weird sentence to say. That game is definitely in my top 10 games of the year, but it's not the best game that I played this week.
Ooh.
I've played something even better. Because I finally had a go at Project Highrise. And I'm in love, ladies and gentlemen. I am in love. Project Highrise is a sort of a more modern take on Sim Tower. Now, if you've never played Sim Tower, that's a bit of a... Wait, shit, hang on, Matt. Do we have any embargoes for Project Highrise? Because it's not out yet.
I think you asked this, and I very specifically said no.
Okay, good. I thought that was just for a video. I do want to check.
Hitman! Let's talk about Hitman while we figure out whether Dan broke the law.
Well, I haven't said anything about it yet, apart from the thing that's obvious. We know it's out, but it's coming out, I think, 8th of September, Project Highrise.
It says very specifically, Project Highrise is now available to preview, and it would be great if your channel would cover it.
Good. Well, I'm covering it here, and I'm going to cover it in a video later on this week. Oh my god! So basically, you build up a tower from sort of a 2D cutaway perspective, much like did the original Sim Tower. But it's so... I mean, okay, one thing I don't... I'm going to go through things I don't like first. The art style is a bit clip art. Like, the faces look just kind of generic. It doesn't really have its own sort of style or anything. It just looks a bit... Yeah, I don't really care about the art style. There's also one really annoying bug, which is if somebody moves out because you failed them in some way, your handyman, who you can't guide around, they just sort of do things in the order you tell them to, they will prioritize cleaning up all the stuff that person left, which means if they've moved out because the thing hasn't been built, if you try and build the thing they need, they'll try and clear that person out first, which takes ages, which means if you've got other of the same type, you'll lose a lot of them before actually they go and fix the thing, and it's quite an annoyance. But everything else... I mean, this is, again, it's an early version, it's not out until September. It's just so fucking addictive. Oh my god, I have no idea. I sat down yesterday to try it. Or was it 2 days ago? Try it, whatever. I put like 10 hours into it. I do not have 10 hours free. There's no way in hell I have 10 hours free. I was playing it until like 4 or 5 in the morning. Just going, right, yeah, I will go to bed. But first, this tower over here, because you can build, of course, multiple towers in the same area. This tower over here, it just needs just another little set of office blocks over there. And, like, you get, like, there's so many currencies to run. There's, like, Buzz, which is, like, if people like your coffee shops and stuff, that generates Buzz. And then you can use that and to, like, spend it on things like, you get 50% off all building and things, and that'll take, like, say, 100 Buzz the first time, but the second time it's going to take 500 Buzz, and then 1,000 Buzz. So you have these huge boosts, these huge useful boosts, but they come later and later in the game, so you've got to learn how to use those properly. You also get things like Influence, which lets you unlock things like you can build things higher, you can build a metro station underneath your tower that people can use, and you can get, like, artworks and stuff. There's also, like, Prestige, which is how good your tower is, and if people move out, it drops down, but that tells you what you unlock as well. So there's so much going on. Plus, you've got to keep all the people happy and everything. And I just love the fact that above, I've built these different towers. There's like my office tower and my like residential tower and my shopping tower. And then underneath in the basements, I've got all these like really intricate like ways that these things are being supported. And everything's just on this cusp and on this balance. And if one thing goes wrong, the whole thing could just collapse. Fucking hell, it's amazing. So fucking good.
Tell me, Dan, what does Project Highrise do right that's something like the fucking Fallout piece of shit does wrong?
What, Fallout Shelter?
Yes.
Oh, well, it actually has gameplay, I think, is the first thing. Whereas Fallout Shelter, you're just like, hey, I'm going to build this thing, and then you build the thing. In this, you have to build the area that thing needs. You need to... So, say you want to build an office block, like a floor of offices, right? First, you need to build up the floor of itself. So you just go on the construction, and then you've built the floor. You then need to get up stairs or elevators and stuff like that. Because if you get your stairs and elevators, otherwise people won't be able to get to them, so they've got to be built. Then, once the handymen have built the whole thing and like carved it all out or everything, then you allocate which rooms go in where. So you have loads of different sizes of offices. So you get like small offices, medium offices, large offices, and then like HQ offices. And in each of those different types, there's lots of different types of people that can move into them. So if you build like a small office, I think there's 5 different types of people that can move into it, like legal services, creative services, banking services, etc., etc. Now, when you built this like empty thing, say this is going to be a small thing, you click on it, and then you have a list of people who want to lease that place, who want to rent that place. And so then you have to choose, but they need different things. So, for instance, legal people will need courier services and copier services. So you need to build courier and copier services that they could use somewhere in there. However, they cost money. So you may be getting a bit less money unless you're going to have lots of legal offices. You don't want them. But if you want creative services, they need a bottled water service, because of course they fucking do. So then if you want to go creative, you need to get bottled water people in there. So do you want to focus on one thing, or do you want to get like a variety in there? Because if you get a variety, it's going to become more appealing and get you more prestige. Plus, on top of this, you also have these contracts, which are like challenges that you can do, which is like get this many people in your thing, and this many different types of offices, this many big offices, go this many floors up. There's lots to do. So basically, to build one office, you have to do like 5 or 6 different things to get it just right, and you have to prepare for it. Plus, of course, there are 5 different utilities. There's electric, phone, cable TV, gas, and water. Different offices require different things. You have to...
Come on, they couldn't even do fucking triple... what's it called? Triple play.
What do you mean triple play?
It's where you have telephone, cable, and internet in one line.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's an actual system.
Yes.
What?
But, well, actually,
literally unplayable.
I'd like to point something out. They technically do, because you need to build a utility cupboard to bring things up. Electricity, phone, and cable TV all come up through the same one, so you don't need to build loads of wires up. You just need one cabinet to go up there. And then for water and gas, they need a separate one. So they've got to come up from the base where you've got those things. But of course, if you're building residential areas, then they need trash. Okay, now you've got trash. Where does the trash collect? Okay, I need trash collection in the basement. Okay, who cleans out the trash collection? Okay, I'm going to need to get some handyman services in here. And it just goes on, and everything needs to be thought about for so long. You can't just go, I'm going to build a big tower and fuck it. Because I tried that, and everything went so wrong. And you can't, like, jump ahead, because, A, the game sort of locks things away until you get later on, but even when you get later on, you can't go, right, I've got lots of small apartments, now let's build luxury 5-bedroom massive fuckers, because you won't be able to run them. You need to gradually build everything up and gradually get it bigger. It's just beautiful.
The developer of this, on Steam, they only have one other game.
Uh-huh.
It's another simulation game, it's called 1849. It is a city management game.
Mm-hmm.
About the California gold rush, and you make towns and you populate them with workers.
I'm going to have to play that, because if it's anywhere near
it looks like,
I'm going to love it.
I mean, it was made 2 years ago, and it kind of looks like sort of the original SimCity style, like the isometric style, but with like old American West towns.
Yeah. It's really...
It's kind of interesting.
It's a beautiful
very positive reviews.
Yeah, this game is... It's my kind of thing. It's that it's the late 90s, early 2000s business management with a hint of creativity. That's the thing that makes these games excel over the others, is that you do have to focus. You want to make it look nice as well. So there are like sort of decoration options as well. So any blank space you've got, instead of it just being dead blank space, you can choose what wallpaper, or if it's got big windows and stuff, you can put furniture and lights and stuff in it. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's so lovely.
Since you've look, since you've had a bit of a fucking wank over it, right? I'd like to move on. If that's all right with you.
Oh, I want to talk about it forever. It's
do you want to have a?
You get a graph. At the end of the day, you get a graph, and the graph tells you how well you're doing, and like you get loads of information.
Dan,
full of information.
Dan,
Yes, darling.
Turn the mic off. Go away for 5 minutes. Okay. Do your business in I don't know, somewhere private, quiet, and then come back.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, me and Matt can discuss Hitman.
All right, fine. I'm actually gonna play the fucking thing.
What do you think of the new Thailand level, Matt?
Thailand, more like Toilet Land. Fuck it, I'm off.
Not as good as Sapienza. It's not Sapienza.
I think it's better than Paris and definitely better than Marrakesh. I don't like Marrakesh.
You see, I'm actually coming to the opinion that Paris might be slightly better because Paris has got more maneuverability in it. Like, there's more pipes, there's more ledgers that you can move around internally and externally, whereas actually you're quite limited in how you move around the building. I think it's a more limited level.
It's a more limited level, but I like the design of it more. I feel it's a bit more organic.
Yeah, I do kind of especially like the fact that the hotel is kind of split into so you can snipe from one half to the other. Which is quite nice.
I'm a big fan. It's the first level in this new one that like has a lot of things that kind of make sense. Like the guy downstairs, he will stay on that loop until like it says his room's ready, and if he goes up and his room's not ready, so what you have to do is you have to go manually, and you have to go around.
You have to clean it yourself. Yeah, there's 4 things you have to do to clean it yourself. Otherwise, he's not satisfied. Or you can just take him straight down to the laundry, which is a bit easier if you can get the latter. Yeah.
But like,
or you can murder him. Actually, the one that's interesting because like what I found from watching other people play it is. Just because there's like the opportunities and the achievements don't give away anything, there are kill methods that aren't even mentioned in any of it. So all of the lighting rigs can be shot down.
Well, no, this is what I'm
like
getting.
In the restaurant, if you shoot the actual connections for the big light display, that falls down. There's not a single achievement or anything or like award or whatever for it. But you can do it, and you can actually kill him, and that's an accident. So you can just kill him as he walks through the restaurant anytime you want.
This is it. The whole thing seems like it's the most, I think, even more than Sapienza, it seems a lot more organic. I still prefer Sapienza, but it seems more natural. Things seem to be a bit more logical to how they would. It seems like the most realistic and least mechanical, weirdly.
Would you agree that the problem potentially is that it is imbalance between the two targets, which is there's a lot more interesting ways you can kill Jordan Cross the Rockstar than Ken Morgan the lawyer. Morgan has, relatively speaking, less you can do with him.
Honestly, I feel there's more to Morgan I can do that I've figured out.
Because I think there's like either you can find a way to kill him on his initial loop, or you take him down to the laundry and you kill him there, or you take him up to the Queen's Suite and you kill him there. Those are the only 3 places he can go, as far as I can tell.
You see, I feel like it does feel like he can do something else.
I haven't found it yet, and I don't see any indication of it.
No, there's a strong implication that Jordan Cross isn't supposed to know he's there. Right?
Yeah, but that's just the story.
I know that's just the story, but I feel like there's probably some way to get him to meet.
Oh, no, I've tried that. I've got them in the same room and they don't acknowledge each other. Oh. The only way to get them into the same room is if you do the exterminator, and thus you get, after you've set up the extermination, you say, I need to examine the room upstairs, and then the hotel manager calls down everyone who's upstairs. Jordan Cross comes down into the foyer, and if you time it right so it's happening just as he passes through the foyer, they can pass with an easy vision of each other, and they don't acknowledge each other. Oh. In fact, the only reason you want to get Jordan Cross upstairs is so you can murder him with a coconut, because that's an achievement.
Oh. I mean, yeah, then in that case I'd agree. But I never felt like the kind of second...
Sorry, you're...
And because Shadurbalov has escaped from his pit, that means Hitman time is over!
I just see it as like
comes out of the pit to let us know we've been talking about Hitman too long.
Are you enjoying Project Highrise, Dan?
Yeah, you're playing footage of Project Highrise in the background, so clearly no one's listening to you. I was just thinking, I was like, how do I interrupt this chat with minimal disruption?
Look, let's talk about remasters. Remasters, because there was, I believe it was this last week, and apologies if this technically happened just before last podcast, we just didn't talk about it. The BioShock collection released its Let's Compare the Old Version to the Remastered video. And I'm a bit confused by it, because they do the whole kind of, here's the old version, then they do a swish across, and then hold it half and half for a second, then swish it over to the new version. And looking at them side by side, I can see, yes, those do look different, but the remastered version doesn't really necessarily look any better. It looks different, just about the same, but with, like it's been loaded into Photoshop and had its vibrancy turned up a little bit.
You know what it looks like? It looks exactly like those GTA 5 graphics mods that come out, which all they do is they lower the contrast a bit.
Yeah. It's just literally
and up the saturation.
It's like they've just put a tiny bit of vibrance or filter on it, but I don't feel, looking at it, like it's any better. I can see a difference. I just don't know if it's the same way of a lot of things, which this is a problem that I have with a lot of things, like when people talk about different versions of a game and say, oh look, you can clearly see the difference between this version and this version. Yes, you can if you put them next to each other, but if it's a good game and you're actually immersed in it, then you wouldn't actually really, once you've been playing for a couple of minutes, mind one way or the other.
Looking at it, the differences look like it's higher res, the texture a bit cleaner, and
tiny bit, but
I mean, it's not enough to justify a remaster.
I can see there's a difference. I couldn't for the life of me tell you what the difference actually is.
Yeah.
If you actually showed it me the other way around and just flipped original versus remastered, I probably wouldn't call you out on it. I wouldn't have noticed.
It looks
slightly less grey, because it looks a little bit more, as you say, with the contrast and the colour.
It more looks like
I think they just added some seaweed in there. I think I just saw a tiny bit of extra seaweed.
You know the way New Vegas has a filter over everything?
Yeah, but a bit orangey to give it a bit of a warm colour.
No, yeah, but it kind of feels like Bioshock, the original one, had a grey filter over everything, and they just got rid of the grey filter. That's what it looks like. Because everything is a bit less, undersaturated.
The other thing that's worth noting is, of course, when they do let's compare the new and the old version, all the comparison shots are of Bioshock 1. They don't show any of the comparison shots for Infinite, because presumably the difference there is even more tiny.
Yeah.
Wait, they're remastering Infinite?
They're remastering all three of them and bringing them all forward. I don't know why, but you can clearly see when you look at it, the colour's, again, been slightly tweaked. That shot of Elizabeth that you just had up there for a second, she's slightly of a different colour.
Matt, I saw the secrets on the Twitch stream, Matt. Matt, I saw the secrets that you were giving away.
I mean, I don't get it. I mean, you said they were redoing Mass Effect as well.
Yeah, they've previously said people are saying Infinite isn't getting a remaster. Well, something's changed, because I know that game really well, and they've definitely done something with the coloration. Because Elizabeth's dress was not quite that blue when she's falling away from you just after your rescue and she's been knocked out of your hands by the singing bird thing in the original. That's definitely changed a tiny bit.
Well, we got a saturation slider. Okay, let's move that up a little. Okay,
something's changed as the tiniest bit there. But yeah, they're saying they might remaster Mass Effect, which again is one of those things where I think, alright, fine. Feels like the different, the amount of time between a game coming out and the time it needs to get a remaster is going down. I'm not really sure you can even Mass Effect 1 still looks okay
GTA
today.
5 was remastered a year after it came out, and then that remaster got a remaster half a year after that came out.
I want to put out with the remasters, I'm okay with them in some respect, because especially some of these 3D games, these sort of photorealistic ones, they don't age well.
Yeah.
And some of them are kind of gaming classics, and frankly, as much as they kind of feel unnecessary, I'm not sat there going, I'd rather play the remaster. It's not like I'm sat there going, I'll play the original now. I'd rather play the remaster. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not really. It just feels a bit like going, we have this license. We don't want to make a new game. Let's just remaster the old one. I mean, it does seem a bit like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't mind.
Well, while EA doing this, EA, could you remaster the first Sims? Seriously, just remaster Sims 1. Does actually not just give it 1080p options. That's all I want. That's all I really want.
Now, we've had many requests to discuss Nuka World, and I can say it is going to come out soon.
Yeah.
And that's all we know.
Not sure what you want us to say about that one.
The trailer was entertaining. It does actually. That trailer did a thing that I don't fucking like. There's a few little things that irk me when it comes to a thing, like when people go, "This isn't a game" during a game, or "This isn't a film" during a film. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate robots that go, we have an 87% chance of failure. Fuck you. That bollocks. You can't. You need to know everything that's happening in the universe. Shut your fucking metal mouth, you prick.
That was in the Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, it was in everything. It's always been a thing. But the thing that I hate the most...
We were talking about Nuka World, Dan.
Yeah, but I'm bringing it back there, is when something's doing a comedy song about something, when they acknowledge they break the universe by acknowledging like that they're a bit dodgy. And Nuka-Cola did it when they were like, oh, one of the lines is something about how they're just about hit the safety standards or something. Like, that's not a thing you would do, and that immediately throws me out of it, because I know you're supposed to be going for the comedy bent, but it kind of... Just don't do that bit. Like, we can see...
That's always kind of been a thing in Fallout, though. There's always been a little bit.
No,
like,
has,
Sunset Sarsaparilla and New Vegas did something very similar.
No. Okay, no, Fallout 4 did take it a bit further, I think.
If you speak to what's-his-face, the broken-down robot in the headquarters of Sunset Sarsaparilla and New Vegas, he literally acknowledges and talks about the safety warnings on TV.
No, but it's kind of... It's not... It's done the kind of... It makes sense. It's like, oh, if you've been hearing about the safety warnings, don't worry, it's fine. Like, it's more like a PR shill thing. But Fallout 4 makes it... It's a bit more obvious. It's a bit... just... It's a bit too in your face.
Yeah, I guess maybe like traditionally
does.
in Fallout, it's more like you're able to break into the corporate headquarters and then read all of the notes saying, "Hey, this is going to murder everyone, and we're going to sell it to them anyway." Because that happens a lot.
What was it? What's it called?
The Quantum in the Nuka-Cola in Fallout 3. The Nuka-Cola factory is a big one.
I have Slurm in my head, but it's not. It's the one in Far Harbor. The Vim. The Vim factory. I fucking love the lore in the Vim factory. Because that has this really interesting story about like Vim and how it was made and the problems they were having, and then trying to make this noob thing, and then that failing, not doing very well, and the bombs kind of dropped when they were trying to recover. And that's an interesting story, and that feels natural.
Plus, I just love the fact that obviously all the super mutants sit around in the Vim because they spend their lives looking for vats of green stuff, and they find vats of green stuff, so obviously think, oh yeah, we found it.
Yeah.
So just think, oh screw it, this must be forced evolutionary virus. We'll just have a nice sit in here, lovely.
But you know what, like, I felt the tone of that was good, but like, in a lot of Fallout 4, and even in the Nuka World trailer, it kind of feels like... I always feel like the tone is off a bit. It's always a bit too slapstick, and I'm sort of like...
But maybe that's a song for the trailer, not actually that was ever supposed to be
but
on TV
I don't even mean
or
just the
something.
trailer. Like, as Dan said, like, like some of the voice bits, it's like... I mean, Old World Blues was slapstick, but the whole point was like, that was its focus. It was this ridiculous, like 50s sci-fi... ridiculous thing, and it was kind of taking the piss out of that.
And yet it had some of the biggest moments of darkness in Fallout New Vegas as well.
My issue is when you're trying to say this is the song that was sung for this theme park when it was running, they wouldn't have that line in it. That line's just been added for comedy. And I like
what line?
The line which is we barely passed the safety standards or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That's my issue is that it's just a joke that's there out of place. And a lot of people do things like this, and it just kind of bugged me.
Because Fallout didn't used to. I feel like New Vegas didn't ever do that.
Yeah.
Everything was subtle.
Oh,
It was...
I've also got a breaking news story.
Ooh.
Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection, has been rated for PS4 and Xbox One. So apparently they're making a remaster of Ezio's games.
You know what? I'm fine with that because they're the best games.
And also, Lego Harry Potter collection has been leaked for the PS4. So there you go. That's two things.
Meanwhile, still on Fallout, obviously, we should probably acknowledge, yes, there have been some rumours about Fallout New Orleans. We don't know if it's real. Probably isn't.
I want to say, the rumours is that there was a trademark apparently made. You know,
but with no
made all
owner
the time.
attached to it.
I mean, you realise, like, this happens a lot and it means nothing. Like, there's no point in, like, caring until, like,
I mean, it's nice to make some jokes on Twitter about it, but it's probably nothing, and we're not going to know for ages, even if it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I want to talk about one thing.
Yes?
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery.
Is that the new TV series?
That's the new TV series, and it's been confirmed that it takes place 10 years before the original series.
Oh!
Yeah!
I don't give a fuck!
Wait, hang on. When did Enterprise take place?
Enterprise took place about 100 years before the original series.
Right.
So this is like the start of the Klingon War kind of thing.
So this is kind of like the... because... They're trying to, like, much like TNG and Voyager and Deep Space Nine were all sort of the same universe. This is kind of trying to expand the original series a bit. And
I fucking don't like original series Star Trek.
And apparently it... Okay, here's the thing that's been confirmed. It takes place 10 years before the original series. It...
we don't run for 10 years.
Doesn't focus on the bridge crew.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought, that's interesting, but also...
Yeah, I'm sat there going, well, the bridge crew's the... Like, there's a like, you know, what was the episode of TNG called where they focus on the sort of, like, lower... I think it might be called Lower Decks or something.
Yeah, Something like that.
And there's
that
a
Rooster
Bajori
Teeth
who...
skit about the night crew. That's fucking amazing.
Meanwhile, with the red shirts.
Oh my god, Meet the Red Shirts would be a great name for a Star Trek.
No, but it is like generally the reason they focus on the bridge crew is because
they're the ones calling all the fucking shots in the life of
yeah,
situation.
you know.
That I find kind of interesting, but from Star Trek has always been about how the hell we do diplomacy when there's horrific things going on.
Yeah.
Whereas this,
how about the
that's what the
kitchens?
bridge
I
crew
wouldn't
does.
mind following the kitchens.
there are
no
kitchens on
kitchens.
the Enterprise, mate. It's all
Yeah,
it's
but
all
no,
complicated,
there
isn't
aren't on the Enterprise. They get invented 5 years before the original series, so there's still kitchens.
Oh yeah, you're right.
There was a kitchen on the NX-01, and that's a pretty big
Thank
deal.
you. I want to follow
But
the
there's
kitchens because
there's
kitchens are interesting.
a
My favourite bits of
problem.
Orange is the New Black is when it's in the kitchens and all the politics about the kitchens.
Okay, yeah, but if we've got Star Trek mixed with Orange and New Black, we've just got fucking Voyager again. That's all we've got without.
Oh, can you imagine they just do Star Trek Discovery and all it is, it's discovering food. It's just a restaurant drama, and that's all it is. And like, there's just shit happening in the background, but they're just like having their petty
I
squabbles
feel
about
like
who gets the.
if you do Star Trek from not the lead's point of view, not the main people's point of view, it's going to be about like relationships and people. And I know that's popular with
care.
TV, but I don't give a fuck when it comes to Star Trek.
I've always wanted a sci-fi series that's set on like a massive, important, huge warship, but it's set like with people who have such menial jobs they have no idea what the warship's doing, and there's clearly a war going on in the background that's actually being fought involving this ship,
yeah.
and bits of it get blown off and people die,
See, that
and there's
I would
peace and
find-
war and betrayal, but
like
we have
that.
no idea about it, and we just get slight hints of it in the
Oh, yeah.
background, and it's all just about these people and their crappy
you-
menial lives.
Okay, remember that episode of Next Generation where Q takes Picard back to when his heart gets replaced, right? And he makes him fight. It makes him. He's like, "Oh, do you want to, not fight the Norse again?" And he does. But then when they brings him back to the Enterprise, he's just like a lieutenant, a science lieutenant who's really dull. And he's trying to go up to the bridge. He's like, "What's happening?" And they're like, "Nothing to do with you." And so he just walks back to the lift, looking sad.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what's going on. And that's all it would be. It would just be this guy walking around going, "Here's your report, sir."
I'm
bored.
always thoroughly interested. That's something I write a lot of. Is a big event goes on and we focus on people who aren't in any way attached to it. Which is the reason I like Cloverfield so much. Is that Cloverfield was, it's a Godzilla film. But we didn't focus on the president going, "Rah!" We focused on just a little bit of the story, and I think that made for a really, really interesting film.
but there's a big difference between focusing on these random people and then focusing on like the president's lackeys.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I quite like
do
Lex
love the
for that
Western,
reason.
So, yeah.
I still think Lex can be defended. Did anyone see Lex?
No, what's
Have you
Lex?
seen Lex?
no.
Basically, the Lex is the biggest, most terrifying super weapon in the galaxy. It's a giant organic starship that eats planets. It blows them up and then it eats the bits that are left over. And it gets accidentally stolen by a slightly idiotic member of the cleaning crew, a sex slave who's half insect, a broken robot head, and just those. I think it's just those three when they start off. Oh, and then a dead guy joins them later, a dead guy zombie thing. And they kind of accidentally steal it, and then they kind of go on the run because now they can't really go anywhere else because everyone tries to shoot them and kill them if they ever go near a civilized system. Just basically bumble around in the most terrifying super weapon in the galaxy. But they're not really. They don't know how to use it properly. And because it's organic, so it kind of has a mind of its own anyway. And occasionally when they're not looking, it just blows up a planet and eats it that they're passing by without them telling it to, and it just doesn't tell them. It's just about them with their really crappy, petty problems and interrelationships.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
But they're just in the world. Basically, just they've accidentally carjacked the Death Star, basically.
Oh, God.
I like
Except
that.
except a Death Star that's sentient
What's
and
it
likes
called?
blowing up planets.
Lex with double X, I would assume.
Yes,
Because it's a sci-fi
with a double
from
X.
early 2000.
Lex was brilliant.
Holy shit, it ran for 61 episodes and I never even heard of it?
Yeah, it ran, I think, 3 series, and they changed the lead actress after the first series. Because fuck it, why not?
Very nice.
I mean, it does have some run to... But no, Star Trek Discovery, oh God, I don't care about the original series. I don't care about the Klingon War. The problem is, right, we've had Enterprise going, "Oh, the Klingon War's going to happen."
Yeah.
And we've had the original series, which was like, "Oh, the Klingon War's has happened."
Yeah.
And then we've had the Next Generation, which was like, the Klingon War happened, and we've moved on from it. Frankly, I don't need to know the fineries of the Klingon War. It's not that interesting. The Klingons aren't that I hate I skipped every episode of fucking TNG. It was like, ooh, we're gonna deal with the Klingon High Council. I don't give two shits about the fucking Klingons.
Yeah. It's gonna. Yeah, I see. My problem is that Klingons are a boring adversary because they're just a big hammer.
Oh, we're a warfaring race.
hammer.
Yes, I know.
Whereas that's why Deep Space Nine worked, because it was the Cardassians and they're sneaky motherfuckers.
And the Dominion,
because they were just unknown sneaky motherfuckers.
God, I fucking love the Cardassians.
Shh. Which one's your
Like, the
favourite,
Romulans
Kim
aren't
or
even-
Chloe?
Who the oh. Could you mute John for the remainder of the podcast, please, Matt?
It took me a minute.
There's a limit to what we'll take.
No, but right, I was
Matt,
I was
can
kind of
still
hoping,
hit
you
John.
know.
That's unfortunate. That's
No, but you
And
know when
next
you
week
go,
we'll have what instead?
still hit John, Matt.
no, but you know when you go, ooh, let's expand Star Trek, and you go, ooh, well, you could focus on kind of something around the TNG, or you could go like, far future, or you could go sort of between the next iteration of TNG, and then they go, no, let's do 5 years, 10 years before fucking the original series. Like, but why?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have
We
to
know about
You
that.
don't have to follow the fucking greatest ship in the universe. I'm totally down with just focusing on, the crew of the USS Bumblefuck. I'm fine with that. But actually focus on the crew and not just, like, Steve from accounts. He's just in the admin block of the Enterprise, like, oh, fuck.
And here's my other concern, right? They said it's very heavily serialized, more so than any other one.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that to a certain extent, but I really like TNG and I think it's my favorite because it's not serialized. It's very every episode is self-contained, and because of that, it allowed like them to do. It was very in the same way I really like Batman because like you see loads of different takes on Batman and different directors and different actors, and you can see it in loads of different ways. You could see the same in that, one time it's someone wrote a story and someone got a director and they go, let's just do this in Starship. And one might be a horror and one might be a love story and one might be a murder mystery. And it's interesting. And then, as good as DS9 was with its serialized format, and as good as I think Season 3 and 4 of Enterprise was with its serialized format, especially Season 3 of Enterprise, where it's just the ship's getting just more and more destroyed and nothing works and half the crew's dead and they have nothing and no shit. We've had like 3 seasons of that, 4 series of just of serialized, and I want another episodic one. I just want more TNG, essentially.
But if they're focusing on the other ones, then we're going to have very little in the actual what's going on and just more a lot of personal relationships and guff.
Yeah, and it's going to be serialized.
I get the whole feeling it's going to be a lot more drama than it is sci-fi.
Yeah.
Or it could be like, it's going to be Orange is the New Black in space, which is that's probably where the series is going to have to go, based on the fact that today America said, hey, fuck you, private prisons, blah, 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 we're not doing that anymore.
No.
I would watch that.
Did you see this shit? Did you see this, that America just went, hey, yeah, those private prisons, we don't like them anymore. It's like, it's the federal ones, not the state ones or something, but it is like, they've just gone, you can't do private prisons like that. And that might trickle down. It's most likely going to trickle down and completely get rid of private prisons in America. In fact, if you happen to have any money in private prisons in America...
Sure.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh,
You might just be a terrible person, by the way, but
I want to as well, we need to just talk about Brian Fuller for a minute. Right? Who is I don't know if you know who he is.
I know Brian Fuller. I love Brian Fuller. Confidence in Brian Fuller. Sort of.
Now, he produced Hannibal, which was an excellent TV
Never watched
show.
it.
It's extremely dark, like not in the horror, like not in the jump scare thing, but just horrific.
Yep. Never watched it.
Well, that really, I had to stop watching because it was just really,
Does he have some unpleasant personal habits or something?
Oh, it's not even Hannibal that is really the fucking, like, making disgusting thing. It's like the people who, like, kidnap people and sew them with other people and they're fucking still alive trying to scream, but they can't. Yeah, really just, really actually horrifying events, without any jump scares, which I'm quite a fan of, but he produced 25 episodes of Voyager.
Yep.
Which, Q2, Endgame, Imperfection,
it's not great
a lot of the
stuff,
Borg
but
ones.
it's not terrible stuff.
No, and he also did 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
Which were Empok Nor.
Yep.
Which I think it was the was that the one where they were trapped in like mining bits?
That was the one where that's the Cardassian space station. Empok Nor was the Cardassian space station.
They left booby traps. Derek is along.
That's a Cardassian space station in that time. They built Deep Space Nine. They're beautiful people.
The beds were uncomfortable.
Was it kind of like quite a fast space station when it got up to warp? Would it be quite difficult to keep up with the Calrassians?
Matt, John's still talking.
Then the other one was the Darkness and the Light.
Oh, that's a.
I'm having a whale of a time over
That's
here.
a Kira episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Kira episode where they start. Someone is killing members of our old resistance cell.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is, and so he's got a good track record.
Yeah, keep going.
And
Keep reading through his track record because you haven't actually got to the things he did that was best.
Well,
He wrote the best episode of Heroes.
I never watched Heroes.
Oh my god. He wrote.
I watched Series 1.
Yeah.
Was it in Series 1?
It was in Series 1.
That's good, because everyone stopped watching after Series 1.
Yeah. He wrote Company Man.
Who gives
Remind
a
me
cunt
roughly what
about
happens in
Heroes?
this episode.
No.
I don't care
It's
that
got
much about
Hayden
Heroes.
Panettiere, who gives a
Company
shit?
Man was the episode that entirely
God.
focused on Bennett. It was the episode that just basically focused on him and his story and shit. And that was an episode that won bajillions of awards and everyone absolutely fucking loved it every time it was like the best episode of Heroes. I really fucking love that episode.
I'm drawing a blank on this right now.
No, right, but this is
You'll
it,
get
isn't
there.
it?
But the best thing he wrote, which you've not even slightly mentioned, best thing,
I don't know anything
because he
else.
fucking created the best fucking television fucking years. It's one of my favourite ever TV shows of all time, Pushing Daisies, which is just fucking incredible. Pushing Daisies is fucking incredible, and it's the loveliest, charmingest, wonderful. Like, the fact that this dude wrote Pushing Daisies and Hannibal, and they're going, you have literally wrote, like, both ends of the spectrum of television.
No, this is it, right. He's clearly got the skill, and he knows Star Trek.
Yeah.
So I'm sat there going, in theory, there is nothing wrong with this. It should be great. But on the other hand, I'm sat there going, it's set 10 years before the original series, and it's serialized, and I don't care about the Klingons, and oh,
Yeah.
blah.
The show thing, I'm like, nah. Writer, benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. It's not even the writer, he's running it.
Yeah, I get the feeling he might do very good stuff. He also did Dead Like Me! Didn't he?
I don't know what that
He
is.
created Dead Like Me! That's a thing, right? Fuck, I'm gonna have to look this thing up now.
That is a that apparently, but I don't know what it is.
Did he create Dead Like Me?
He
He created Dead Like Me! It's the
yeah.
best fucking show!
And Wonderfalls.
Never heard of that. But, you know, Dead Like Me was a great show about a girl who's killed by a space toilet and then kind of spirals on from there. Hangs out with dead people. It's pretty good. Don't go. I just said a girl was killed by a space toilet, and your response was, "Seen that."
I mean,
She wasn't in
I haven't
space, so it's very impressive.
I mean, I haven't really seen it, so I can't really comment, can I? Apparently, the other guy who's co-creating Discovery is Alex Kurtzman,
I fear that name.
who
That sounds
was
shitty.
who was the producer of let's see, producer of Hawaii 5-0, Star Trek Into Darkness, the original Star Trek movie, Cowboys and Aliens. He wrote.
Now you
Hawaii
see
5-0.
me. Oh God.
He
God.
wrote the Star Trek video game, the 2013 one.
Oh.
He wrote that Doctor Who episode with the absorber law.
He helped,
Alan Felicity Davis. Fuck you.
he helped write Transformers, the Star Trek
That
movie,
has
Mission
words in
Impossible
it.
3.
Jesus.
Who is this person? How do we find him and kill him?
Into Darkness. He helped write the Amazing Spider-Man.
We have to find the Horcruxes.
He's the executive producer on the reboot of The Mummy next year. He's literally Hitler.
Yeah,
Couldn't
he's
be
directing
worse.
that as well.
Couldn't be worse.
He's directing a Venom movie, apparently.
Jesus.
Wait, in what fucking universe? They've just cancelled everything.
I don't give a shit about this
In
man's
the
face.
not in the MC. Sony just what?
Don't
Are they? Is
don't
Sony
think
still,
about
Is Sony going to
Spider-Man.
reboot Spider-Man a third time?
Don't think about Spider-Man. It only make you sad.
No, they've got the new Spider-Man movie coming out.
Yeah, but he's not going to be. Oh, what is it in the MCU? They're going to make a Venom movie in
Yeah,
the
it's in
MCU.
the MCU. Yeah, it's in the MCU. You know who's the villain in it? The villain is
Well, probably
fucking
Venom,
Michael.
I'm gonna
no,
guess.
Michael Keaton is the villain.
It's just Michael
Michael
Keaton.
Keaton is
not
the-
even a superpower.
Michael Keaton playing a Falcon.
Just Michael Keaton as Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton is a Falcon. how will Venom, the superpowered alien symbiote, defeat
gonna Google it.
Falcon?
Yeah, Falcon is apparently a character. Or something.
I'm going to be honest. I'm putting my money on Venom in
Well, no,
that fight.
the Vulture,
That doesn't
the
strike me as
Vulture.
hard.
Vulture.
The Vulture.
Okay.
The Vulture. He's playing the Vulture.
Venom could easily take the Vulture.
Well,
What bullshit is this?
No, in fairness,
This is like saying Superman
hang
versus
on,
Captain
Wait,
Boomerang.
stop. No, hang on, wait, no. No, look, right? Michael Keaton has been Batman, he's been Birdman, he can be the Vulture just fine. He's perfect.
Yeah, he can be the Vulture, but how is the Vulture any form of realistic threat to Venom?
He's not to Venom, to
I'm
Spider-Man.
talking about Venom.
You just said this was a Venom film.
No, I said it was, and then you said, oh, they were rebooting Spider-Man. I went, no, they're doing a Spider-Man movie with Michael Keaton as the villain.
Well, then it's not a Venom movie, it's a Spider-Man movie. With
I know,
Venom
but
and
there's-
Vulture.
No. There's a Spider-Man movie coming out, and then there's a Venom-specific movie coming out after that in the MCU.
Oh my god. I give up.
What?
I give up.
Fuck everything,
is-
reboot the MCU.
Alright, I'm gonna go through
is-
some quick bits of news because
Yes, quick news.
quick news. Natural disasters are coming to city skylines in a new expansion. Yay!
Not till
Apparently it's
December.
super
though.
laggy.
League has added a mode they're adding a mode where you get weapons and shit. Yay! The PS4 is adding folders in its next update of firmware.
Yes!
Fuck
Well, no,
yeah!
can I
just say-
Finally!
No, wait, hang on.
Yes!
No, can I just say, right?
Fold us.
A, little too late. B, you can store so little in that fucking thing that you'll have about 3 things in a folder and then you'll be full.
Yeah. Alright.
So you got 3 games, that's all you can fit.
And
Sorry.
the final bit of news, I saw Louis C.K. in the last week and he was very funny.
You did.
I did. He was wearing
And
a
Rome
suit.
Total War's coming to iPad, which is the best thing ever.
Is it the best thing ever?
Yes, because it can easily run on that technology. It's a very simple, light, old game. And actually, for once, the touchscreen controls will be better than the originals, because it was
Hang
always
on.
annoying to move cavalry and then have to double-click them back around. But if you can literally, like, swing to go, I want you to sweep around, then go into the back, you'll be able to do it all in one touch. This is this is actually genuinely a game that will work with touchscreen controls. I'm so looking forward to this.
Hey, Dan.
Hello.
So where did you see Louis C. Clark again?
Louis C. Carr?
Clark.
Louis C. Clark.
Fuck it, where'd you see
That's
him?
not his name, Matt.
Fuck it, go.
His name is
it
Louis
doesn't matter. Where'd you
C.K.
Is he in the Venom movie too?
Louis C.K. No.
Louis C.K.
He's
he
the
play
like
Venom?
lead character of that Pets film that's just come out.
So tell me, Dan, where did you see Louis C.K.?
Well, Louis C.K.
Yes.
I saw him in London town, in Wembley
Did
Arena.
you?
Yeah.
In Wembley Arena?
Wembley Arena.
Ah,
That's nice.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when did you see that?
On the 12th.
On the
On
12th,
the 12th, yeah.
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 The day when we were all in London.
Yeah, the day when everyone else is in London for that shitty YouTube convention, I went down to London
Yeah.
and watched Louis C.K.
Round the corner.
Just round the corner, yeah.
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 With other people from the YouTube convention at said show.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't see anything though, because I booked my tickets, ages ago.
Yeah.
Seats and all that.
This is Dan. Antisocial man.
Look, I don't want to spend fucking time out with people when I could watch a very funny, bald 97-year-old talk about his anus.
We were round the corner!
Yeah! Well, I went around a different corner to get the train all the way back home again, so,
I went round the other corner and I fucked
Yeah,
off.
that's what I did. I had 5 guys and I fucked off out of there. It was great.
Oh, fucker.
I think that's everything. I think we wrap up. That's it. Are we done?
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
commiserations to Eva Murray on her suspension. And Paige.
And Paige,
Albert
and
Rio.
Albert
Can someone
Rio.
translate that for me as well? When this time, what does wellness policy violation actually
This
mean?
one sounds like they were smoking the grass. Tastes bad.
Together. Because Alberto Del Rio and Paige are dating.
What?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
What? How do you not know
I
this?
know these things. I pay attention.
I don't know why Eva Marie got suspended. She got suspended a bit later.
She
like,
just looks fishy.
when she's
They caught her
red, I mean-
beating a midget.
They call her red-handed.
Yeah.
Wait, beating him?
She found her just like she found her just holding Hornswoggle, punching Hornswoggle.
He's gone already. That'll be fine.
I know he's gone, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know what other midgets are in WWE at this
Everyone
point,
else
even
in
related.
the
to
chat is shouting Planet Coaster, but I said it's coming out November 17th. There you go, done, boom. Someone just says, I like to drink burgers.
Yeah, scan the
Why
room.
do I bother to look at this Twitch chat? Why do I bother? Anyway, that was our show. Let's go again. Goodbye!
Bye.
Is that how a
Yes. Fuck it. That's it today, Matt. That's it. That's where the VOD ends. I gotta go. I'm done. I'll see you later.